Okay. So, I want to start with this. I'd like you to take a really good look at the screen. I just like we measure our students or our coordinators, and we give them sort of a madad of where are you. I'd like to get a madad kind of all of you, how we're starting the school year. And when I give mine at the end, then you'll totally understand why I'm doing this. So I'd like to know which pair of shoes you would like to begin the year with.
Judy,
but
we're looking at the What's New site.
I was wondering where she was going with this.
I knew where she was going, and I was wondering.
I'd like you to look at this screen for just a moment. I feel like a broken record. I'd like you to look at this screen for just a moment. I'd like you to choose a pair of shoes that you want to begin with the year with, and which pair of shoes you think or you feel you're beginning the year with. I want to know if they're the same or different, and to explain. Okay, and I'll explain why I'm doing this afterwards. So who would like to start?
Good morning.
Morning, Sohad.
Hi, Sohad.
Hi, Sohad.
I'm happy to
I'll
start.
get the instructions for you in a minute. Who wants to start? Hales, was that you?
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy to start.
Go, sweetie pie.
Okay. So I would like to think I could start the start the year with a pair of flip-flops. Flip-flops to me is like a feeling of space and freedom, and it gives me that like I can do whatever I want feeling. That's how I like to wander around normally, and it gives me that sort of more open, creative vibe. I feel like I'm starting the year with a ladder, and that goes into the sandal, sort of open toe sandal, whatever it is.
Yeah, the red one.
The red one. I feel I've got to literally climb a mountain, and I would call it higher than that ladder, to be honest. And then I think once we get to the top of the mountain and we understand where we're going, I think it will be free sailing and back to normal. I'd like to think that way, but I've got to get through that mountain first, and it's bloody high.
I agree with you. Yeah, anybody else want to be next before I make you be next?
I can go. I'd like to think that I'm starting with the sneakers with the wings, just flying off in there. But I actually feel like I'm in the ballet slippers on my toes, because I feel that I'm expected to, because of that I'm expected to be like on my tippy toes and ballerinaing perfectly through September, and yeah, that hurts my toes.
Ballerinas have really wounded feet. I totally get that. But goddesses do ballet, so don't worry.
Goddesses float in the air. Your feet won't even touch the ground.
I know.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Go.
Gabby, do you want to go before me?
Fine.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gabby. Nati, Gabby, I don't know. This is confusing. It's Zoom. Someone start speaking.
Gabby, raise my hand.
I don't care. Nati, go.
Okay.
Gabby has more time to think now.
Okay. Now I'd like to start the year. Somehow we do start the year with the sneakers, because somehow I have a new job, and I've got a lot of thoughts about it, and I'm very, very happy and excited about that. So I come with all the good vibes and energy, and I do feel that I'm with excellent people. Like I only can learn here. So I'm really happy. I'm like ecstatic. I feel like I'm with wings. But some part of my real routine stuff, my real beginning of the year, is a bit of a Lego the Lego shoes, that I have so many pieces that I have to group and put together, but keep them in the right colors and not get mixed. What I mean is, what is what? Okay, what is the red? What is the white? Not to get mixed with that. And have them organized enough to have have the shoe walking. And that's it.
I like it.
Yeah, fair.
It's really funny because later on I'm going to talk about the Lego shoes in a totally different way, which is what I love about this slide. Okay, Gabi, your turn, sweetie.
So I would like to begin with the rollerblades. My personality, I'm quick. I like to do things and get them done, and I've always got 100 lists on my fridge and everywhere in the house, and I love ticking everything off and knowing that I'm doing things, I'm getting there. And my kids love rollerblades, and it's something that's like, it's my mashani, okay? So that's how I would like in the year to sail through it, to begin. I've got a new teacher on the team, not just a new teacher, a new teacher. And I would just like her to join us and sail with I've got a great team in my school, and join us and come aboard and roll ahead. But I think I'm going to go with Natty with the Lego shoes. First of all, I've never seen Lego shoes. I love them. No, they're so colorful and amazing. And I think this brings me into the counseling as well, where I'm first of all building myself, and then trying to build a community and my coordinators, and we're building together like Lego. So I've got like a few things of Lego. I've got the counselors and the coordinators and my community, I hope, which is going to open, and my school. And I feel like I'm building all the time. I think that's how I will be beginning the year, with building new relationships with a lot of people who I don't know and people that I do know, but it's different kinds of relationships. And I'm really excited. I waited for the 1st of September so long. I'm so happy. My house is quiet and there's no one here, and I can have a coffee in peace.
So you're happy we kept you home today?
Yes, I am.
Good.
I'm delighted.
Yay.
Yay.
Good. Rebecca, I don't want you to do this if you're driving because you can't see.
I saw the shoe that pulled over.
Oh,
I
okay.
just don't know what the task is.
The task is which shoes you want to start the year with and which you think you are starting the year with, if they're the same or different.
Mine are different.
Okay.
I'm starting the year with my sneakers because I'm
Okay.
running and putting out fires, organizing. But then I will ease into my Timberlands in order to build towards the mission that I've set up for us.
You're always
Wow.
so like goal oriented.
That right
sweetie,
goes
aren't you?
right to the point. Wow.
I know she has.
Different.
She's just, we don't screw around here, do we, dear?
If I can't function without organization, and I
Yeah, I
make
know.
everybody crazy until I mold into that organization. Uvda, I ask you people tons and tons of questions.
Yeah, good. We like our questions. Good, excellent. Sohad, sweetie, I can't hear you. Put your
Can
mic
we
on,
just
babe.
say how much better Sohad looks
Yeah.
this week than she did a
I was
couple
just
weeks
gonna
ago?
say that, but I wanted her to pick
Yeah.
shoes.
You
Yeah.
first.
look like 40 years younger.
Yeah, really? I tried that here today.
No, you look great. Thank God.
You have color in your face, sweetheart.
Mamash. Yeah.
Okay. So I
So
will
much better.
I'm choosing the same shoes for the beginning, and I will continue with it. I'm choosing the running shoes.
Cool.
Because we all live in uncertain and unknown circumstances. So I don't like I don't like anything to catch me unprepared. So putting on these shoes means you are always ready to run
Eat
and
my dust.
deal. In addition to my health issues, okay? So these shoes are the most suitable for me.
That is so true. Oh, babe, but you look so much better. I'm so
I
glad.
would
Oh,
love
God.
to have the high heels. the
I
pink.
know they're really pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
I
way.
know.
No way.
I know. No, not this year. Mel,
I think I'm going to start with the rainbow sneakers.
Amy, are
with
you getting
wings.
ready? Is Amy here?
Amy's here.
Okay, good. Amy, Get ready. I know you're on your machine, so get ready, okay? Go ahead, Mel.
I think the rainbow sneakers with wings is what I would like to be, because I like to be like the most colorful, the most cool, the most varied, and just like take off and fly through the year in this magical way, because that's the teacher that I would like to be. I'm feeling today, the day before I go into school, kind of like the blue high heels with the flippers,
Flippers.
because it's very, very hard to walk forwards in those flippers, and you have to be very, very careful with every decision you make and every step you take, or you even have to go backwards to get to where you want to be. And I feel I just don't know. Like, I just don't know what tomorrow will bring. And I don't know if I mean, I think I'm prepared. I don't know if I'm prepared. I just don't know. So I'm just thinking, and as a coordinator in my school and as a counselor in the region, I'm always kind of hoping that I have the right answer. And I definitely am sometimes walking backwards. Like, we're teaching English, like where have we been? And then also looking forward to how are we adapting to be able to manage with our flipper feet that we've been provided this year. So we'll see. We'll see if we've done the right thing and if it's prepared us in the right way and if we're going in the right direction, forwards.
It's so
or
funny.
backwards.
I never even thought of those shoes as actually walking. It's like funny that you thought about how to walk in them.
I spent my summer snorkeling.
And there you go. Ames, Ames, Ames on the bike, bike, bike.
But those flippers have heels, so you would have to walk in them. It's a double.
Yeah, I know.
Double.
A double whammy. Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah, Ames, what are you choosing,
I have
honey?
I have sort of the same shoes as Rebecca, so I'll try and change a bit since she took them. But
No,
a shoe is an
choose what
interesting
you
metaphor
want.
to give. I am going to. I'm just saying that, first of all, a shoe is a very interesting metaphor for me to think of, since I can hardly wear any kind of shoes for various reasons. And, but it's like, it's a game.
I didn't even, I'm sorry. I didn't even
It's
think
all
of
good.
that.
It's very interesting. It's super interesting. Therefore, almost for sure flip-flops, because that is what I tend to wear 364 days a year, to school, to weddings, to the beach, to job. And I probably am going to stick with flip-flops 80% of the time, because comfort and at ease and feeling like I'm really myself. I'm still myself. And all the bells and whistles and changes and uncertainty aren't going to flip and flop me, even though they're flip-flops. And yet at the same time, I looked at both the purple running shoes, because I'm Sigali and they're purple, and the Timberlands, because I know the research says when you wear lace-step shoes, shoes that you tie, even when you're working from home, you are more productive than if you're in your bunny slippers or your flip-flops. So I'm going to alternate between those two. Sometimes tie up my shoes, like the metaphor, like put on your big girl pants.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Lace
put
up
on your
your
big girl
shoes.
pants.
Lace up your shoes and walk down that path.
I like that.
Bill?
Thank you, Ames. I like that a lot. Keep pedaling. We're going to keep talking. Keep pedaling.
I'm muting
It's
so you don't hear me panting.
Okay, I'll quickly do mine. I actually have the same pair of shoes, and I also said this in my meeting with all the English inspectors this morning. I'm not suffering in this time of unknown. It works really well with my ADHD. The roller coaster ride and the changes, and there are Arima Dumont that aren't going to school, and then at 7 in the morning they are going to school, but at 11 o'clock they're not, and then at 7:45, it doesn't bother me. Actually thrive better under the roller coaster. I like riding it. My daughter and I are the ones who go on all the scariest roller coasters, and if I could, I'd bungee, and those things don't freak me out or scare me or anything. I like it. Totally ADHD. I mean, really. So I want to be on the rollerblades, and I want to all the time be on the rollerblades, and I could go backwards on the rollerblades and sideways and forwards and up a hill and down a hill, and that's fine. But I'm not in those. Right now, I'm in the the little pink shoes you can't walk in that seem very pretty, and everything seems to be in a really nice package, but you really can't walk anywhere in them. Okay, these sort of stiletto heels that don't allow you to actually move because you're afraid to fall all the time. But they look really nice and everything, and on the surface they look really nice, but the question is, are they functional? And I stop myself and I ask myself all the time whether what I'm doing just looks nice or if it's actually reaching a goal, if it's actually allowing me to move forward. If all the Zoominars that we do and all the things that we do and all the courses that we do and all the everything that I'm planning and all the materials that we put out, if they're not overwhelming, if they're really getting to the point, if they're really making people go forward, if the idea is right, what we're doing. And I ask myself that all the time. So even though I like to
And this is
sit-
the time for everybody to do what we said we would do when Judy came into the session.
We're bobbleheads.
I don't know, but you look like a dog on the dashboard, Adele.
That's it!
Woo!
I've known Adele for 20 years. This isn't a hard one. Okay. Thank you. But what I was gonna say was, I do ask myself, and I do reflect a lot, and I sit on my porch with a glass of wine at the end of the week, and I do ask myself if what we're doing is right and how to adjust to where we're going and how to make it more right. Okay, and so I'd really like it if I could be on the rollerblades all the time, but I think I would miss a lot. And I think I wouldn't actually fix the directions. Like I wouldn't all of a sudden move a little to the left or to the right. Okay, I have to keep asking myself all the time. And so I would never wear those pink shoes, but I do feel like I'm wearing them. And I guess if I really, really wanted to choose, it would be the ones that most of you chose, which had the colorful and the wings, because I think of Hermes and I think of flying around and doing nice things and having beautiful scarves, and that would be good. But aside from that, so I'm glad that we did this, and I think it's a nice thing also for your staffs or even for your open mic hours, with your office hours, with your coordinators. You could do this. I think it gives it the feeling of movement, which is kind of like what we want to give them. Okay, and sometimes it's okay to regress, and sometimes it's okay to go forward, and sometimes it's okay to go to the sides, but never hover or never get stuck. Okay, that's one of the things I think that those 50 10 by 10 teachers that we had over the summer, I think that that's really what, aside from all the technology, we unstuck them. Okay, they were like stuck in the past. And I think that we sort of made this sound, right? We like open.
Adele
like
did that every morning.
When you open a jar, okay, that's what we did for them. We opened up a whole new world for them. So if we can keep them de-sticking our people, then we're doing the right thing. And I have to remind myself, I'm very self-critical. So I have to remind myself also of that, right? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Melissa, I would like it if you shared the agenda for today. There's a lot of stuff today. Okay, because we didn't meet last week, and I want you to know more than your coordinators and your teachers. So I need you to really focus for the beginning of today. And after I get through a bit of the information, we're going to have a brain break and a stretch. And then we're going to go on to talking about virtual counseling and what that means. Okay, we're going to work on it together. So the first thing is that you have been shared a Gantt calendar. Melissa, can you do the first three while I pee, because I've been sitting in this chair since 7:30? And you just start the first three and I'll be back in 2 seconds. Is that okay?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. I have to pee, sorry.
So every year I do the Gantt calendar. What does Gantt mean? Gantt is a word, it's not a Hebrew word. It's a word that's used, it probably stands for something, but it's basically the calendar of all of the projects for the year. In the business world, the word Gantt is used to be like a project manager, like not only the dates, but also like the plan for how to get things done. When Judy uses the word Gantt, what she means is to, a recluse of all of our dates for the year. So this year we have so many dates and so many courses. I decided to do it in a Google Sheets. I just have to make it a little bit smaller so that it's more easily seen. Okay, so in this Gantt, on the first page, we've got the choice board course, which is our mother of all courses, I have to say. It's got 31 dates, okay, with the topic, session, lecture, and then we're using this page a little bit to organize ourselves as well. Then the 10 by 10 course right now has been postponed due to, Judy will talk more about the extreme and tragic lack of funding that we have this year. So right now, when we run the 10 by 10 course, we have to pay somebody to run it. And right now we can't do it. We hope to get more funding in January, in which case we might run it in the second half of the year. Adele, everything changed yesterday. What?
That was what I said. What?
Yeah, everything changed yesterday because yesterday morning, Judy was told that instead of the 230 paid hours that we needed to run all of our Mintuktzab courses this year to pay our instructors, we got 60, shishim, shesh FS. So 30 of those, yeah, look at Haley's face, it's precious. So I had a very long day. I was supposed to take the day off with Yaakov yesterday, and instead we spent the entire day reorganizing. So really, like a lot of you are hearing brand new things this morning. Nobody's been kept outside of the loop. It's just simply that fresh, all of this information.
Debbie knows. Debbie knows.
Debbie will get 30 hours for the technology course, as she's been promised. And oh, by the way, sorry, the 60 out, I'm sure Judy will repeat all of this to you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. The 60 hours that we got is until January. In January, we may well get new funding. Okay, Sohad, you're here, right? Sohad?
Yes, Melissa, I'm
okay,
here.
It's okay if your camera's off. I just want to make sure that you're hearing this.
I was talking to my daughter.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You can do whatever you want. I just want to make sure you're hearing this.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm listening.
So, so the choice board course will continue as usual, and we'll hope that we'll get a second set of funding in the spring. I just don't know.
Does this mean no communities?
Wait, I'm going through everything one
Okay.
at a time. The 10 by 10 course, as I said, is being postponed till we see if we get money in January to run it.
So
and I'm going to have people, and I'm eating straw over this one because I told a lot of people that they'd be able to sign teachers up for it. Okay.
Does Debbie know? Because she was working on.
Debbie is getting paid.
I asked, does she know that the 10 by 10 is not happening now?
Oh, no. But after I go through everything with you today, then we'll speak to others.
Nothing is.
Because I shared the site with her so that she can revamp it. And I wouldn't want
all right. That's a good point. So I'll make a point of talking to her today so that she doesn't put more time into it.
Okay, there are more hitpatkuyot. So it's not a decision yet. The problem with the courses is that they need to finish by the 31st of December. Okay, we may also get a course that's a curriculum course for 30 hours for the Machoz, but it has to be finished by the 31st of September. Okay, so theoretically, there's a whole big thing. Like I wouldn't have necessarily gone into all of the dates. I would have just said, we have a Gantt and it's in your Google Calendar.
I'm just showing them through it so that they know what to find here. Okay, right now, and there are other things here that, like Amy, we haven't spoken to you about the fact that what we did yesterday is we called each of the lead teachers that are supposed to get paid, and we spoke to each of them, and we'll go into that more later. But right now, what you see is all of the dates for each course, because some of each community, some are on Sundays, some Tuesdays, and some Wednesdays. And so each one has its set of dates. And so Sohad, when we're building the Yomanim, we can find all of the dates here. Okay, we have a series of Zoominars this year. These are guest lecturers who we have not offered money to. And you'll see that they, well, one already started in August. That's actually not the right date. Maybe it is. And
Yes,
then,
it was.
yeah, it was. Okay. And going all the way through April with a really all-star staff of topics. And we're very excited about it. And as you see, they're all 8 to 9 in the evening, and they shouldn't affect anything else. And if they do conflict with the choice board course date, the choice board course ends by 7. So anybody wants to, by 6 or 7, I don't remember. And so this will already start later in the day, so they could even attend this as well. Okay?
You have the dates for that?
We have dates. All the dates are written here.
You can't
No,
see.
I'm
She
trying to
can't
say
see.
I'm
She's
here.
driving, and don't you dare look. You're
Oh, no,
driving.
all of the dates. That's the whole point of this calendar, is every single date is set for the year. Okay? And then we also have a special ed series with Arona. Okay, she hasn't put the topics in yet, but we will get them in due time. The advertisement for the special ed series has already gone off. The teachers who are invited are specifically special ed teachers and teachers in special ed schools. And then,
This is not at-risk weak learners. Okay, it's going to be very, very, very clear. These are not weak learners. These are not non-readers. These are special ed kids. There is a difference, a total difference. Okay, there is nothing the same about them. Okay, this is not because they don't know English. This could be special ed 5 points. But these are autistic kids. These are kids who learn in a totally different way, in a totally different section, in a totally different everything. Okay, these are not mainstream kids who are non-readers. Okay, that is going to be very clear when we put out the announcement. So if anyone asks you, it's incredibly important that I say this and that you know. Okay, this is special ed. That's it. Okay.
right. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted that to be very clear.
Yeah, great. Okay, and then finally, I didn't put in, I'll say 2 things. Judy already said to you this morning that every single Tuesday from 10 to 12 or 12:30, we'll be having a counseling meeting. It's scheduled. It's possible that we'll cancel them if we don't need them, but we want you to reserve that time for counseling meetings. If you're Zoom meeting with schools, you can meet one school at 8 o'clock and another school at 12 o'clock, and then just try to reserve that time in between for, if we get to the point where we're having face-to-face meetings, we can revisit this issue and decide to change it. 2 reasons it's really good to have the meetings starting at 10 instead of starting at 7:30 or 8 o'clock is because Judy has a meeting with Siona every Tuesday morning from 8 to 10. And so we'll be able to get information hot off the press from Siona by meeting with Judy right after.
Which is what's going to happen today because I've already amended the agenda based on the meeting.
Okay. And the other reason is we can have Judy with us because she's with Siona from 8 to 10 and you can't be with us. She can't be with us. What are these dates? Sohad, these dates are we are making the counselor's course into a Hishtalmut. You're going to get 30 hours of Hishtalmut for attending our counseling sessions.
Counselor's course. You said we're making the counselor's course. You mean the counselor's meetings?
Counselor's meetings will count as a course. You'll get 30 hours gmul for being a counselor and attending our sessions. Okay.
And Sohad, I'm the lecturer.
Judy's
because
the lecturer.
I don't get gmul.
Okay.
This is not double dipping or something like that? That they don't say we're double
No,
dipping?
we're allowed to do it.
No, we're allowed to do
Encourage
it.
us to do it.
Amazing.
Because part of what we'll be doing during the year is actual professional development as well. It's not only informational, it's also developing your counseling skills.
It's like
Okay.
today, also we have Arona. It's at a different 2 hours, but it's still on a Tuesday. It's fine.
Okay.
Do we put that on our timesheet?
We'll talk about the timesheets in a minute.
Okay. These are the official dates, Sohad, of the community. Okay. And you have to make sure that it adds up to 30 hours. In reality, Rebecca, to answer your question very briefly, these are officially the course dates. We're going to have many more meetings than that, right? So part of the year of our 100 hours of counseling meetings in the course of the year, of that 30 hours will be
For
Rebecca,
Gmul.
we can't have it. The hours can't officially be 10 to 12:30.
Right.
The official hours
Are from 4 till 6:30.
have to be, they can be after 2:30, I thought, no?
I don't know, just write 4 to 6:30. What does it matter? We're not
Okay.
going to be doing it from 4 to 6:30, but we're going to say they have attendance from 4 to 6:30. It doesn't matter what the Yoman says.
Okay.
It matters.
So how do you understand that? Like we can't have professional development before 2:30.
The attendance sheet to Nechama, I need to use these hours.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Those dates and those hours. Exactly. Okay. All right. So that's the Gantt. I hope it helps clarify. So now you know there's one place for whatever dates that you're trying to remember, there's one place that you can go back to look. And by the way, a word about this agenda. It worked really well for us last year. We keep adding every meeting we have, we keep adding to the same agenda. Okay, so that whatever previous links you're looking for, you always know that you can come back to the agenda to find those links. Okay. So I already
Sharing this. Why you
This
You
sharing?
is
have it.
already
It's
shared.
shared with you from
This
the
is
last
already
meeting.
shared with you. I really
Oh,
have-
wow,
In
Melissa.
the
I
meeting
updated my
folder.
internet. We updated the system and it's supposed to be faster. See, you're all editors on this. Okay, so you can all play with
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Melissa, are you
Yes.
are you gonna do a Sandra and put all of these dates into?
They
She
are
did.
already there.
They're already there.
And any
Oh, well done.
thank you.
She spent a
Star
whole
on my
day doing
forehead.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Woo!
Kacha, the Read All You Need site. I'm supposed to be
Maybe we should
spending
explain
this
though
week.
to the other.
What?
Maybe we need to explain, does Nati and Gabi know about the calendar?
They have it in their calendar already. They're shared.
Do you see it? You see purple
And
dates
Gabi,
that I put into your
Oh,
calendar?
Yes, in my phone I do.
Every
Yeah.
once in a while I put in a doctor's appointment. Don't worry, it's for me, it's not for you. Adele sent me one yesterday. I try to never write anything embarrassing in my calendar because you never know who I'm sharing it
You
with.
really have to be careful.
I'm careful and I still make mistakes, but that's
There you
my
go.
part of the ADHD.
Such a humongous help that I have this in my calendar.
Good.
Yeah,
helps
so
me.
everyone, it's in your Google Calendar. So
And
you
if
should
you're
just-
afraid I've made a mistake, like you can double check with the Gantt because the Gantt is the final word. Any changes that are made immediately go to the Gantt and then go into the Google Calendar. So if I've made mistakes or forgotten things, you can definitely let me know and check up on me. Okay.
Okay, read all you need. Let's boogie. We have a ton to
Yeah.
do today.
Read All You Need is I'm supposed to be updating. I'm focusing first of all on adding materials for blended learning. And we're focusing on keeping the site very useful and less beautiful. Okay, so I'm listing the links that they need for different materials with short explanations. And in reality, it might look a little bit more like an annotated bibliography than a fancy site, but that's what people need, okay? And then the staff details, I've been bugging like heck my teachers. I'm up to something like 14 or 17 out of my 24. I swear to God, I'm going to wring their necks by the end of the day. But I keep sending like, woohoo, up to 17. Who's the lucky last 5? You know, and I just keep nagging
I've done
them.
it. I've got everyone in, Melissa.
You're amazing. I don't know. My teachers are very, I
Gold
think I,
star.
I had some complaints, but
Who cares? Send
you
them
know
to
what?
me.
You know what? I think that that starting off the year by making them turn in their staff details on time is simply us doing our housework, because it puts me in their face and they're like, oh gosh, I work for Melissa too. And they don't like that. Like they like
That's
to think that
okay.
I spend
Nice.
all of my time making 90 sessions of, you know, professional development for them, you know, just as like cotton candy if they feel like it. No, I'm sorry. I need back from you too. Right. And this is
Yeah, and you
starting
have to
off the
sit
year
on
on the
their
right foot.
butts. Yeah, yeah. And
Can I
threaten
say
them with
something?
me. Yes, Amy.
Can I, do we have time? Two things. I have problems with two schools I want to mention. I want to say something about the nudging. This year, I should have shared this earlier, but maybe you all do it. I also sent out, thanks so much for taking care of it so promptly, and like rewarded all the good girls who did it. And I was a little more Judy than Amy, and those who didn't, instead of like, how are you doing? And please take care. It was like, you have not taken care of this. It's official business. Do it now.
Good.
But I want to say that I don't know what Regavim Tirat Tzvi is. I don't know who they are.
You
I
have to, but
Regavim Benyamina.
Amy, you have
Yeah.
to send me an email about this. Don't just say it in the
Okay, and-
meeting. This has to be an official email. I haven't received from this schools, and then I can deal with it.
I have
Okay.
a school without a coordinator. Openat.
Okay, so you have to write it. Those are things I need emails for, guys. Saying it in the
Okay.
meeting isn't going to help me. I need an email that I pass on to the Mefakech Kolel.
Amy, I'll just
Okay.
remind you, Regavim
Okay.
Tirat Tzvi is also called Regavim Banot.
No, Tirat Tzvi is not.
Is Ba'emek?
Is
Regavim
Ba'emek.
Ba'emek. Regavim Ba'emek. Sorry. Okay, and you can look on
So,
Sandra's
I'll talk
last
to you later.
year. Look on their list from last year and see what other names there you might be able to, you know, call somebody and see what's happening
Okay.
in the school.
Okay. Sababa.
Okay.
But guys, everyone, when there are schools that are totally uncooperative or say to you, oh, I'm not doing that, or I don't have a coordinator, or I'm not the coordinator, or I don't know, whatever they say to you, that's an email to me. Okay, you can call me and I can talk to you and be very nice about it, but there's nothing that I can do without an email. Okay, it has to be in an email, even if it's one line long. No coordinator. That's a fine email. Okay, but I have to have it in an email. Otherwise, there's nothing that I can do about it. It has to be in writing. All right, the staff details is something that I would like you, after we sit with Alona today, if you could give just a little bit of attention to make sure that we're getting those today, that would be super duper. Okay, that has to be our top goal, because we need to have these staff details. It's just not okay that we don't. All right, and the schools
What do
need to
we
know.
do with the staff details, Judy? You've not told us what to do with it.
Okay, so first of all, right now you don't do anything with it. Right now it's for us, for at least for me, it's if you need to get in touch with someone. But afterwards, we're going to be looking at the teacher functionality. If anyone has claimed to not being functional, that was one of the questions that I added this year, whether or not they're virtually whatever. You can look at it and see if there are any people who have admitted, most of them won't, but some of them who are in real mitsuka, they will admit to it, and we're going to have to deal with them.
But
Okay.
also, Judy, this is the time to take all the information from the staff details, especially for the new counselors, and to start building their mailing lists from it.
Right, 100%.
I built the coordinators. Do I need to
Yeah.
build a teacher's?
Yeah,
Ah,
I have one, Gabby. I take all, going through the entire details and picking them out. For me, it's easier because I have most of them already. But I go and check that I have each of the teachers whose email has been listed in here by the coordinator. And I go to my contacts and I be sure that they're in there, and I write down, I label them as being in that school. I'm happy to help you with it afterwards to show you how I do it if you want.
Yes.
Yeah,
an
it's
idea.
really
But
worthwhile getting started on
during
the
the
right
year,
foot there.
we send out emails. Often Judy will say, send this email only to the teachers, because the coordinators are doing other stuff, and she wants to be sure that it gets to the teachers. So it's important to be able to have that organized.
Contact list, okay.
And I'll just
Yeah, so I can
I'll just add
sit
to
with you
that.
after.
One of the reasons it's really important is there's special programs that people go into, like for example, Let's Talk. And then we need to have all of the Let's Talk teachers' details because we need to be able to send out reminders to them of meetings and reminders to fill out forms. And I grab that information from your staff details pages. So it's really important that if you ever have teachers change or the coordinator changes or anything, that you update that information in your staff details page. And then the last bit of information that I'm going to give you is that once everybody gets all of their information in and we feel like we're totally done, that's gorgeous. When we feel like we're totally done, then I make a master page. I open up a new tab in the worksheet and I make a master page and I copy all of your coordinators and I copy basically your entire page and I put it all on one big page and I alphabetize it. So then we have one alphabetical list of all of the Reed schools, all of their coordinators and all of their teachers all in one place. So we have to search for one name. Like we have a teacher and we know she's a Reed teacher, but we don't remember what school she's in. I can go to that master page and I just do control find and then I can find that one teacher in that one big master page. And it saves us a huge amount of time in the course of the year. The time that I used to waste earlier in the year just searching through all of this is crazy.
Okay.
Okay, Judy?
Yeah. Is it me? I'm sorry. I
Virtual
wasn't.
counseling. What's next? We're up to virtual
Okay.
counseling.
No, I want to go down first. Go down. I want to show you all that. No.
Just have one question, Adele. In your teacher list, did you omit the coordinators or are they also in the teacher list?
I have a mailing list
I can't
for only teachers.
without
and I have a mailing list
coordinators.
Without coordinators,
No.
but what I often do is I send out an email and I click teachers
And coordinators.
and coordinators,
Okay.
so I can send it to
Okay,
all of them at
thanks.
once.
Okay.
But I have them in separate lists so that I can send them separately.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, I want to move on to a bunch of things that have changed on the Tziona level. Okay, and these are things that some of them, Melissa and I, well, actually it was Melissa. I did the creepy movie and Melissa did the really gorgeous post-it. And I'm still trying to figure out why I had to do the creepy movie and she had to do the post-it. She gets to do the gorgeous post-it.
So stop complaining.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll sacrifice for the team. Okay. I had to do the creepy movie and Melissa got to do the gorgeous post-it.
I'm
What,
popping
Adele?
out for 30 seconds. I have to go.
What?
I have to go to the bathroom. I'm popping out for 30 seconds.
Go.
Hear you.
Go. It's fine. All right. So part of the creepy post-it, look what I did. I gave you a creepy post-it. The beautiful post-it, I know, the beautiful post-it that Melissa did, because I said to her, it has to have a tunk on it. And she gave the best tunk ever. Okay. There are a bunch of links there to a bunch of different things that have come out and a bunch of different sites that came out. And I just want to go, it's never okay that something has gone out that you don't know about or that you haven't seen or that you don't know all the information about, because then I get the questions to the group and I answer, but these are things that I need you to know, okay? So the first, there's a Mikud. Can you click on it, please, Melissa? There's a site called Lomdim Bebitachon, okay? It's the site for all of the stuff for this Corona year, and it is all put in one place, and it's called Lomdim Bebitachon, okay? Everything is there. Can you go down, Melissa, please? Now, this is the Hatama for the Tochnit Limudim. Go down, go to English, click on English. Thank you, go down, down, down. Go to Mikud V'chomer Hora'ah. This is the Mikud for the Bagrut. What you have to teach in, like what you do in Yud, and go down, 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 down. Melissa?
I'm going down.
Thank you.
My
Yud
gosh.
Aleph and Yud Bet. Okay, this is where I want you to be. Okay, I want you to look. This is where the brown thing is. This is where it says one piece came off of literature, and it is only for Yud Bet students. Because if Melissa would go down a little bit more, then we would see that. Okay, good. Okay, do you see where it says this on the right-hand column? This is the Mikud for literature. When people say to you, but my Yud Aleph class is finishing 3 points, 4 points, I don't care. And you say to them, no, go here. Okay? This is your answer for 11th graders do not have a piece off of literature, no matter whether they're finishing, not finishing, whether it's 4 points to go up to 5 points, whether it's, I don't care, whether their grandmother is no longer alive since 1994. I don't care what their reason is. This is only for 12th graders, 100%. And we have to really stand on that, because when we get to what's happening in the Kob in Tafshin Pei Aleph, you're gonna freak out. So now let's go back to the list, please.
The agenda? The
No,
agenda?
the Lomdim B'Bitachon, yeah, to the agenda. Okay, so that's the Mikud and that's the link, okay? The next thing is Lomdim B'Bitachon, go into it, please. Again, this is the top site. And now if you go into Chativat Benaim, go up, click on Chativat Benaim, go into Mosdot Chinuch, go down. Now we have, no, up. Now we have a bunch of different things that have to do with Chativat Benaim. If you go into Hora'a Lemida Ha'aracha, and you go into Mikud Tochniot Limudim, or any of these, whatever, also Lemida Merachok, Kelim Digitalim, anything there is for Chativat Benaim. And if you choose English, if you go down, 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 good. Click on English, go down. Go in, then you have do Mikud B'Chomrei Hora'ah. Thank you. Now you have the Mikud for 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, which includes all of the other things. Now, when you get to Kita Chet, go down. Here you have, go down, go down. You have, for example, no, go up, stop. Down a little bit, please. Thank you, stop. Okay, you have the Let's Talk things that they can still do. You have Otzar Milim Band 2. You have Mivcharei Chomarim that she has. You have the Shiurim Metzulamim Ma'agar Mesimot, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Shiur Anglit Digitali, okay? All of these things are tools chock full. Like, I have given Tziona many compliments lately on the way she has put everything together based on grades and based on like the digital projects, which I'm going to show you in a minute. She has some amazing chomarim here, but again, it's very overwhelming. Your teachers are going to need tivuch. When we start talking about you meeting with staffs, we're going to learn how to use these tools. I just want to show you them begadol, okay? And then I'll say when I think you should be using each of these different types of things, okay? Can you go back into the agenda, please? Thank you. Click on the Rama tools. These are tools that are for Chativot Benaim, okay? Mostly Chet, okay? But also Tet, Zayin and Tet. If you go down, and here you do Matchum Hadat, but you can look down at the bottom. But if you do it for English, then you'll see all of the English, all right? If you could go down, I don't know if Zayin, Chet, Tet are all there in English.
It's right there in the right.
Look like all elementary.
I see all Daled Hey Vav.
Daled Hey
Zayin
Vav.
Chetet.
Now
Here.
we get into,
Here's Zayin
okay.
Chetet.
So there's Havanata Nikra. All right, but if you go up, you can do the Sinun. Okay, these are all, here we have Zayin Chetet, textim Benunim, textim Murkavim for Chet. How to use them. Okay, yeah, you can open one. Okay, there are a bunch of texts here that you can use. These are good for, these are more for mapping your students. I mean, breaking them up into hakabatzot, or there's a machvan, there's a text. It's old Meitzav texts, but they're broken up. This is just the text part. And then for writing, there's with writing. Okay, and they're all broken up. They're called shelf exams. In Hebrew, we call them Ivchanei Madaf. Okay, if you go down, this is just Havanata Nikra, so there isn't writing here. Okay, but if you go back, then there's also, there's Haba'a Bichtav. Okay, now there are very low ones and there are very high ones. There's also the Mesimot Bitzua of the Ask kit. Okay, Ask is speaking. It's what Siona did for her doctorate. Okay, and I like this. And I told everyone that we should start using this last year. Okay, this is the Ask Kit. It has great tasks for speaking. And I know that she's trying to make this virtual, but she hasn't, bless you, whoever sneezed, but she hasn't made it yet. Okay, all of these things are done. Okay, they're done for you. Okay, you don't have to build anything. They're done for you. They're by units. They have vocabulary. They have speaking tasks. They are fantastic. Okay, all of these things here are available in the Rama site for you to choose. You don't have to go and do anything incredibly important or make up all this work. It's made up for you. Okay, and we need to expose the teachers to these things. All right, we're going to talk in a
one. It says Chinuch Haredi. Is there a separate one for Chinuch?
Probably, it's just the one I clicked on.
Oh. Okay.
No, Chinuch Haredi means that it's good for everyone. It doesn't mean that it's about Chazal. It means that it's good for everyone and it doesn't have anything that's controversial in it. It doesn't mean you can't use it for a Chiloni kid. It means it doesn't have.
But yes, here's a regular Dovrei Ivrit.
A genetic one.
Yeah.
Charedi just means it's extra clean.
And there's also one for Dovrei Aravit.
Yeah.
There's Haredi, Ivrit, and Aravit for everything.
The Charedi, well, why is it that way? Because that's the way they Meitzav was. When you gave a Meitzav to the Chinuch Charedi, the instructions were in Arabic. When you gave it to the Migzar Mamlachti, you gave it in Hebrew. When you give it to the Charedim, it just means that there aren't things that they wouldn't know about, like genetic splicing or things that maybe they're not exposed to. Okay, mostly scientific things. Okay, there's no evolution. There's no planets colliding or whatever. They're like things that they can, it's mostly about reading books.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, this is terrible.
What?
The Messima, the writing Messima is based on something that they've read earlier in the exam.
Yeah, that's not horrible. That's where she's going.
But it's set out separately. They don't have the other half of the exam here. This is just
right.
The Mat Ktiva.
Right. And one of the reasons why we had to do that was because the Mezkiruta Pedagogit required us to break up the Meitzav.
Article. Sorry. The article is here.
Oh, okay, good. She's going towards that also back into the Bagrut, that some of the vocabulary will be used again because she's going to no more dictionaries. Like eventually. Not this year, but like eventually. So that makes sense.
Just module E.
Pardon me?
For all levels or just module E?
No, sweetheart, I didn't say that for you to have something in your brain in a little compartment. I mean that as a vision.
Okay.
Okay, it's her vision to have the students be tested without dictionaries, with vocabulary that they know. It's a vision, okay? There is no starting, ending date or level or whatever, but her vision is, and I 100% agree, I can't believe I'm saying that twice in one meeting. I agree that, and so the writing and the text will have the same topic, okay? Because there won't be a milonit and there won't be a dictionary, and so it'll help. Okay, it'll keep it on topic. And I think that that's the right way to do a formative assessment. Okay, I don't like what we're assessing now. If it were up to me, it would all be canceled. All right, so Rebecca, no box. Future, okay? Okay. So that's the Rama tools. And I wanted to give those to you so that you would understand what they were for and what was there. Okay, again, I don't like putting stuff out that you don't know what it is. Okay, and also teachers won't use it if they don't know what it is. And so in your office hours or in your staff meetings, you can choose one of these to go into and go into more depth with how you use it. Okay, that's part of the idea. Okay, grammar books. This is new. Melissa hasn't even seen this yet. As of Tafshin Pei Bet, which means not this year, but next year, there will be no grammar books approved for anything. All right, they're going under the auspices of unseen books. In other words, not in Hashalat Sfarim, and without Talan, you can't have the students buy them. Okay, you need to know that grammar books are being taken out of the flow of books you can ask your students to buy. That will be as of Tafshin Pei Bet, which is not this year, but next year. All right. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to watch and Melissa's writing. No, it's good that you're writing, sweetie. It's just, I lost it in ADHD. All right, I'm going to show you something now. It's called a Bagrut Handbook, and I want you to look at it. You are not party to this folder or anything. You will not be able to get into it later. It is not final, which is why I can't give it to you. I'm going to show it to you because it's already been revamped a little bit, but I want to show you the process of what Siona is doing for Bagrut, and I want to say the really good thing about it. There's nothing new about this handbook, except that everything is consolidated into one place. Okay, so if you go down, there's a table of contents, I think. I don't remember, I only looked at it once. Yes, there's a table of contents that includes all of the rubrics and all of the guidelines and all of the percentages and all of everything. If you could go to page 19, please, Melissa. The happiest thing that happened, if you could scroll down just a little, the happiest thing that happened is that the project, where is it? The project on Module C got put into the school grade as 30% of the school grade, which means that on all levels, it'll probably be E and G. The school project is going to now be put back into what Judy Steiner used to have, and then once Siona came in, no one knew where to do with the project. And then she took it off of the Kobe Ki'ilu. And then we figured the project wasn't worth anything. Why not just take your cousin's project about chocolate addiction? And now it's back on. Okay,
has this been announced in a way that people are going to know it? Or do we have to make it? It
hasn't been announced. First of all, these haven't been announced yet. This is what's called insider trading. I wasn't supposed to show it to you. It doesn't exist yet until it goes up on the site. She's doing it for 3, 4, and 5, and they're not going up for at least another couple of weeks. Okay, since no one is doing a school grade right now, I don't care, okay? However, I am party to it, so I'm sharing it with you, and I'm uber happy that she put this back in to being a required part of your yearly grade, okay? The yearly grade is worth crap, and 30% of 30% is nothing. But I'm glad that it's there for emotional reasons, okay? That the project is something important, that it's going into your tziyun shnati, that you have to do it and you can't take Cousin Yossi's, okay? And that is important to me. And I requested that she put it on, and she actually has been listening to me lately. Okay, and so it's back on for all levels 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that is the happiest thing about this. If you go up a little bit, up, that's down.
More?
Up. Yeah, up. I want to go to the percentages. These are all the rubrics for everything, including C and exams and oral, and everything is in there. But if you go up, there's also projects, how it works. There's the written, how. No, I want you to go up more.
Wait, hold on. We need to. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to close that. I just have to do it a different way. Let's go back to the table of contents and tell me what you want me to click on.
Go up. I want you to do this page 4, I think. Go down. Yes, this is what I want.
This chart?
Oh.
There's a delay.
Yeah.
There's a delay.
Okay.
There's like a 2-second delay between
I understand. That's why I stopped. That's why I stopped saying it to you. That's why I hold myself back now. Okay. These are the modules, the percentages, with the yearly grade, what it's based on, how much percent it is, okay? And then there's another chart in here somewhere, which we're not gonna look for, but I'm telling you it's here. How do you report grades for everything? When and how?
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, there's a planner, there's something, okay? The different types of whatevers, there's a whole big long thing, you will get it. Reporting the grades here. Okay, where, when, which grade, what it is, what the thing is, what the thing is. Okay, now she's building these for 3 points, 4 points, and 5 points.
Nice.
I think
Okay?
that Gail has been
And-
very busy this summer.
She has. So in any case, Gail didn't do the digital project site. It was Jane and Jennifer,
Really?
by the way, yes.
Great.
So in any case, will be going out for all of them. I just wanted to show you. Okay?
That's
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you talking about the code? Is there anything new about that?
Yes, but I haven't gotten there yet. That's in 2 things on the agenda.
Oh.
All right, the digital projects, could you go into that for a second? This is a site of digital projects that was made by Jane and Jennifer. Okay, fantastic things here. Okay, I'm uber impressed. Okay, I really am. I'm usually not, and I really am. Okay, I don't really think that all the projects are things that I would do, but I'm impressed that she did this. Okay, and I'm impressed that it exists. And one of the things that I'm happy about is that it's taking a lot of pressure off of us in making materials. Okay, off of us, off of me, God help me. Okay, of making materials, because there are things to choose from. Okay, and they're national things, and that's how it should be. Okay.
Brenner High School.
Pardon me?
Brenner High School.
Yeah, they were asked to send things. Okay, we also will be collecting more, and she said if we collect more, we can send them. It's something on Melissa's to-do list. If you can have any of your projects or any of projects that you have from your coordinators or from your communities, we can send them and they can be put up as well. Who had a question?
Amy?
Amy, you had a question?
I did, but now I'm chewing. Is this all still secret, waiting a few weeks to come out?
No,
Or
this is
our
on the,
teachers-
no,
This is on
this is on the site.
see on the site?
Yeah,
Cool.
I sent it to you. Go back. Okay, how am I going to show you how to get to it? Go into Tiona's site.
And by if it's in see on the site, I'll find it.
It's
I'm
a
not
button.
like one of my coordinators.
It's a button.
Okay.
It's
a
a
button.
new button. Yeah, a button.
Cool.
Go down.
See? Do you see?
There.
Very
It's a
exciting.
button.
Exciting as can be.
It's not something that is hidden. It is in plain 100% sight. Okay? I'm gonna go now into the COBE, and you're gonna have to not scream. We're gonna talk about how to deal with it. Okay? This year COBE, there are gonna be 6 to 8 dates. There are gonna be one exam, 2 different rubrics. We're going back to a 4-point and 5-point grading system, but it'll be the same exam. Okay? 11th graders are blocked from doing the COBE. Not just winter, they're totally blocked. 100% blocked. Okay? Native speakers, anyone, no one, and it's not for a moed. 11th graders cannot finish English in 11th grade anymore.
Oh, Nachla, yes, I'm happy.
Okay, they cannot do the COBE in 11th grade in 4-point week students.
Is this public information already?
No, this is not public information. This will be going out on Thursday with the COBE grades COBE dates in the letter in Hebrew to principals.
So please, when you hear something like that, old and new counselors, please do not tell your staff in school, do not send WhatsApp to your best friend, because it leaks out and then it's all over and there's mass confusion, and then sometimes things change between now and Thursday, in which case we create even more of a balagan. So until the official letter goes out, it's not true. Okay, so we don't even tell our best friend.
It's what's called totally embargoed. Totally. Okay, not your staff, not anybody, not your dog. Thank you, Melissa. I forgot to say that that's totally 100% true. Anything that I tell you here is embargoed unless I say it's on Siona's site. Okay? Could you make it yellow, Melissa, in the agenda thing, and
this?
Yes, and write embargoed next to it, please.
In red letters, boom.
Okay. The decision was made between David Gal and Siona. I have to say I pushed for it 100%. Okay. I am sick and tired of classes finishing in Yud Aleph. You know that it's a pet peeve. I hate it. I more than hate it. I think it's a disservice to our strong students. It means we're not teaching English. It means we're testing out. I think that is wrong on every single level, okay? This is not the place that's hard for them. This is not preventing them from doing anything. If they're olim, or if there are specific na'aleh classes that have a problem, then eventually when they'll be able to talk to me, the principals, I'm sure, will call me. If you have someone who has a problem with it, you send them to me, you tell them they have to write me an email and explain. I'm sure that here and there, especially with Na'aleh classes in like Ayanot and Mosin Son and places that have English speakers who are off the boat, okay, those students I will probably give hetev to, because they have to deal with learning Hebrew. All right, Mechunanim are always off the table because they have their own Bagrut schedule. But Melissa, because we have to stop doing all of this other work, is going to start working on excellence in English and her peers program. And in her peers program, we're going to figure out what to do with these students instead of having them test out.
I thought they were peeps.
Peeps, sorry.
Are they
it
going
used to be peers. It was peers on my board.
We changed it to peeps.
Oh, okay. Peeps. Sorry, I have to.
Because peers
internalize that.
Peers is an international program for buddying up people on the spectrum with regular people and getting out into the world.
I see. Sometimes I feel that way. Okay. Fine. So peeps or whatever, and Melissa is going to do that this year by hook or by crook, and therefore we'll be able to offer a plan also for those students who had originally thought they were going to finish in 11th grade, but now they're probably going to finish in winter of 12th grade. Okay? Okay. So I know that that's a problem. Does anyone want to scream, cry, bat on the floor, have anything to say
About
about
what?
this
About
decision?
it's a
About
pain
the
in the
fact,
neck for me personally in my school.
I know, but it's not you personally, it's your school.
What about the hysterical mother who wrote a letter of complaint about her only daughter who got 70 on Module E anyway? Is she
Jill-
now deal with it? Siona said no, or?
I don't know
Keep
what
it
happened.
outside
It
your
went
box.
away. It went away. It never came back. I didn't hear from it again.
Okay.
But it's Siona's decision, and it's what, Melissa?
One second.
I think it's a great thing. I've always said, if what she did. What am I not seeing?
A picture on the screen.
Stay safe. You're laughing now, but I saw that happen in real life with teenagers.
Okay. Melissa, I love you, but I need your focus now. Okay?
Commercial break.
No, it cuts out in the middle of the thing. It cuts it out. Okay, now go up again. Go up again. Go up again. Yes, I wanted to say one more thing.
That the project is worth 60% again. No?
What?
Didn't it say that on the COBE it was 40% interview and 60% project? Like the old days?
On this file now?
I thought I saw it this morning. I saw something. Maybe I was looking at face-to-face special ed.
You were looking at the you were looking at the 3-point handbook, and that isn't the
Bummer.
COBE. That was a face-to-face.
Okay.
And it was the old rubrics from before.
Okay. I remember.
No.
I'm 100.
It's Sababa that you remember it, but now I'm giving you context. It's not the COBE. It's the old face-to-face
Right.
3-point exam. Okay, because what I showed you was
Thank
a
you.
3-point handbook. The 4 and 5 haven't been written yet. Okay?
Auntie.
Okay,
Okay,
go
thanks.
down. Yesterday, we got ladders hours, but I want you to understand something. We did not get ladders hours that are Tekken hours, okay? And these are not ladders hours that are anything like ladders hours have ever been before. So I remember Amy had asked me previously, do we have ladders? The answer was no. And we still don't have ladders the way we knew it, okay? These are ladders, these are effective hours, 18 effective hours that have to be used by December 31st, okay? One of the things you all have to understand, because it's gonna come up a lot now, is that there is no budget from January. We only have Odfei Taktiv, which is like the extra money that's been hanging around, and everything has to be done by the 31st of December, okay? There is no future money starting in January, okay? We only have what's called the fumes, okay? What's left over, okay? Nobody knows if there is even any money from January, okay? It's never been like this before. You have to understand. Okay, it's never, ever, 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 ever been like this, where we didn't know anything. Okay, last year we didn't have a government, but we were approved the same budget we had the year before. So we couldn't grow, but we could stay the same. This year, we don't do anything. Okay, we're not growing, we're not staying the same. We're using up the canned goods in the closet. Okay? That's where we are. We don't have a running supermarket order ever. Okay? Which is really disconcerting for us here. Okay? You can't plan anything. We may have to have hishtalmiyot that have to finish 30 hours by the 31st of December, which is mental.
Ugh.
Okay? So you have to understand that we are in a situation that we've never been before, and we will deal with it, and everything will be fine. But you just have to, I need you to have context. Okay? The fact
Is
that
the ladder's info secret?
the ladders is secret because it hasn't gone out yet, and it won't be secret when I get it and give it to you. Okay, now there are a couple of conditions. One, these are differential hours, which means te'um mas, which means it goes into the ba'alut. These are the keep talking hours. Okay, they're 80 shekel an hour or something like that with te'um mas. I don't know how much it comes out to. This is not a shos. Okay, these are not tekken hours that we used to get for a class. This isn't 3 hours a week. This isn't 2 hours a week. This isn't anything. This is 18 hours. That's it. Okay? And it's through the ba'alut. All right? It's not through your regular maskoet unless you're getting a maskoet through the ba'alut. So if you're getting misad hours, then you have to have a te'um mas for these hours. They're not attractive hours. They're like the keep talking hours that nobody wanted to do. Okay? So I'm not super duper thrilled. Okay? And I'm not sure that we should be highly recommending this. Okay? Where do I think this is good? In Pnimiyot and Kfarei Noar. Because those kids are there anyway. They can be used after Sukkot and Isru Chag. They can be used when the kids are there on a Friday morning if they're staying. They can be used in other ways, and they can be used virtually with very small groups, if necessary, Merkaz Lemidah or whatever, okay? These are like Merkaz Lemidah hours, which is why I think that's the best place to use them. However, there is so much bureaucracy and paperwork involved in these poor 18 hours that I'm not 100% sure that al panav they're actually worth it. Now I have Zoharim who wants them, but he wants them as teken. He'll be willing to take them, Yochanan. He's been asking me since July. Okay, I know that some schools, these 18 singular hours might be very, very useful and handy. But I want you guys to understand the fact that there's so much paperwork involved for 18 hours that for some schools, it's just not worth it. Okay, and they have to be used by the 31st of December and claimed, and all the paperwork has to be done by the 31st of December. Okay, it is not for 4 to 5 groups. It is only for 0 to 3 and 3 to 4 as if they were aim high hours. Okay, that's the way the budget is running. Okay, schools can ask for 4 to 5, but I can't imagine they're going to get them. The adifut for giving them in the Kol Koreh is going to be 0 to 3, then 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5. I'm not saying what I'm recommending or not recommending. Okay, I don't know. Every school is going to have to make the decision by themselves. When I send out the letter, then everyone can decide. Every coordinator will decide for themselves. I don't want us to get into it or even come with a recommendation.
Judy, what's 0 to 3, 3 to 4?
Levels, Bagrut. If they're not Bagrut and they're trying for 3, or if they're on a 3 level trying for 4.
Sorry, okay.
No, not sorry. Good question. Sorry, it was easy to me. It was obvious to me, but it's not obvious. It won't be obvious to our coordinators if we write it like that. So thank you, Gabi. Be more specific. All right. 18 hours of, I have to do a te'um mas for this, or it's, going to come out to 50 shekel, or it might put me over a tax bracket. Okay. Your teachers have to think about this. We didn't have good experience with the keep talking hours. People didn't use them. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, the Let's Talk program and pilot, we have, Melissa, can you please go into the staff details?
The schools in the program or the staff?
I don't know what. Inside the details of the English staff, like every year, but I'm saying this especially now to Gabi and Nati, we add tabs in there with programs so that if I say, go and check your teachers, send this to the Let's Talk teachers or whatever, then you have their information here. Slowly but surely we fill this out. For all the different programs for Kfarei Noar, Rebecca now has a list of Katzeh, but before that, her list of Kfarei Noar were there. If I get budget for Kfarei Noar specifically, there are 47 of them. They are also going to have their own list. These are the schools that have Let's Talk.
Sorry.
The ones at the top, Kfar Silva, Ben Shemen, Eshel, Ma'ale Shacharut, Alonei, Yitzchak, Chavat Hanor, Kanot, Sheked, Sdeliyahu, and Gan Venof, those schools received it in the first mana. Okay, that meant that they were schools that had had it before. And then I got permission to choose, and Svias Negev were also in the ones from before. Okay, and they're not Svia anymore. They're Dat Sdot Negev. Okay, now those schools, I added 4 more schools. I got permission for 4 more schools, and I added Neria, Dat, and Givat Washington. Melissa and I spoke with the principals. Melissa spoke with the coordinators. Adele also. We had a session about this. Adele, would you like to say a few words about it, please?
So we had a session presenting it to them, and
presenting what? I didn't say anything about what it is.
I'm about to say it.
Oh, sorry.
The program as it is now that the schools are getting Let's Talk to do with their kids. Yay! And they also are required to have their teachers do Speak to Go, which is going to help improve proficiency of the teachers who need it. They don't all need it, but I spoke to some of the ones who are native speakers, and I explained, I spoke to Ronit, the Rekezet of Dat, and I explained, I know you don't need it, but if we want Sapir to get in and to be able to do it so as not to offend people, it's important that everybody do it. And Judy presented it in a way that it was as palatable as possible, I believe. I'm only sorry that the school that really needs it the most isn't getting it because of decisions that Judy made, and I'm not arguing with those decisions, but that is really the school that.
We have a school who's changed principal, who fire sticks with their hours, who lies, who I don't trust to use these hours and actually run this program. I don't trust the teachers. I don't believe that what they're doing is right, and they're not in the program. Okay, it can't be that they do whatever they want, whenever they want, and that they don't do what they're supposed to do when they do get national hours. And I'm not giving them national hours that are Tekken hours, which each Tekken hour is worth 150,000 shekel. I'm not giving it to them in order for them to use it for another class in geometry. Okay, and I don't trust them. And yes, it's true. I chose these schools because Adele has a very weak red population, not just the students, but the teachers, okay? We've tried to get them together before. Last year, they were actually in the community, which was a shoss because I didn't believe that they would. I think that
and the year before, towards
the year before, but the year before, Adele, I forced them, and I got the principals to force them, and I got them out of school from 12 until 3. Don't give them that much credit, sweetie. I know you have loyalty to your area, but I forced them top down to go to Adele's cluster meeting sessions. I got them out of school from 12 until 3:30 so that they wouldn't have an excuse not to come, okay? I got them out of lessons, okay? That doesn't happen just because. That doesn't happen anywhere. That happens only with me. Okay, nobody else would even think about that. And you get them out. And I made them go to this in order for Adele to convince them that a community is a good thing.
Yeah,
So
they
then when
saw that it was really good, and that did convince them.
and then they came. So now I'm giving back. Okay. And now they're going to be getting Speak to Go, which is good for their confidence. And it's good for their proficiency, which is crap. And they don't.
Speak to Go are now getting, are working on an adult version, which makes it even easier and more palatable to.
Yeah, but I was sneaky and I told them they should try the COBE one so that they can see if it's good for their students.
Judy
And then
is very sneaky. You should never believe her.
And then their recommendation will be helpful for me to get them money so that we can buy subscriptions for their students in high school, because they're not at an adult level. Some of these teachers are at a below COBE level, okay? And the COBE is gonna be hard for them. All right, so I told them sneakily that they would be starting with the COBE so that we could get their opinion, because it's a pilot, so that then we could, okay? And I pumped it up so that, but the idea of doing it, I presented it today in front of the other inspectors because Tiana liked it. Tiana likes me lately. That's gonna crash and burn soon. I'm gonna do one thing and it's gonna all be over. In any case,
just don't take it so personally.
Yeah. Anyway, so and I presented it, and
I think you just earned a gazillion brownie points with everything that we did, and the rest of the country didn't do.
Irona said she thinks we should get a national award for what we've done.
I think that the fact that none of you said you were starting the year as counselors, dead on the floor without
Well, you didn't
shoes.
have a picture of a smart tooth there.
No, but I believe in all of your creativity, that you're not in the box, and you would have chosen to say, I'm dying on the floor. Because our teachers aren't ready for this, and oh my God, what are we gonna do? Which is the way the other inspectors are, where I sat there and the one thing I had to say was, I like this, and can we do more of this? And I don't mind going back into a lockdown, because I actually didn't mind, except for the fact that I couldn't run, and I ran around my building a lot. Other than that, I was a really happy puppy. And this coming to the office for 14 hours a day is just not doing it for me. But in any case, so this is a pilot that we're doing. Okay.
I have a question.
One second,
Yeah.
Nati. This is a pilot that I'm running. If I see that it's working well, I may force other areas and other schools to do this. Okay. But right now we're running it in one place, and it's Benny Fisher, who is he's in charge of that. And I already spoke with him yesterday and said, you're going to be spending money on my schools. And he said, I never say no to you.
Benny Fisher is Judy's #1 A+ fan.
So he owes me big time for many things. And so when I go to him and I said, I want this money, then I get it. Okay. And I'm sure that if I spoke with other people, I would also get it, because the principals trust me to do this. It's something that actually Barry said at the meeting. Everyone said, how did you do that? The schools won't pay money. And Barry said, yeah, but she has relationships with her principals. Like, they trust her.
What?
And I said, yeah, well, that's Barry. And I said, well, that's part of my job.
What?
Like, they have that in the Yesodi, because they're the ones who go to see the teachers and they do shibuts and whatever. But the junior highs and the high schools, they don't really know their principals that well. And their principals definitely don't trust them, because they could send them crap teachers. I don't have that problem. So,
and teachers,
I don't deal with their teachers. Like, I got mad yesterday at Ben Shemin, but aside from that, I don't really deal with, okay.
Okay, let's
So
move on.
that was the Let's Talk thing. The 7th grade diagnostic, I'm waiting for whatever. Haley and Nati's PowerPoint and movie. I want everyone a round of applause.
amazing.
Absolutely amazing. All right, the kululululu of our session. I didn't want it to just be another thing which is why I asked them to make a movie, which they made an amazing movie that starts out by saying how beautiful Nati looks, which just made the movie
That's so
also much
funny.
better.
Nati went and
I
turned
love
back
it.
I love that.
They're wearing
Okay.
makeup. I thought you were going to delete that bit at the beginning. I didn't realize you'd leave it there.
Absolutely. I would never delete that.
I'm sorry,
It was,
Natalie.
no, it was beautiful. It was like the best intro. I loved it.
It was great.
I watched it like 17 times, just that half a second. Okay. It was fantastic.
God, I so thought you would get Adele to clip it.
I would never. Okay. Something so human and wonderful. And it was just so wonderful to start the movie like that.
Okay.
Adele, what are you doing?
Listen, ladies, I just have to go over 2 seconds. My baby's leaving home.
That's okay.
Bye-bye.
Go,
I'm gonna come back in tears. I'm just gonna warn you. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, I did that on Sunday.
I did that yesterday.
There you go. Okay.
Saf is off to Mechina.
Adele, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm making a hat.
Why?
Just because it was here and I can.
Okay, could you just mute Haley because she probably doesn't want us to listen.
I dropped off my baby.
Okay.
And it has like a little window here, so I'm going to bring it to my grandkids and they're going to be able to put it on their heads and use it.
Rebecca also just dropped off her baby.
And Rebecca also. Don't start, Rebecca. Don't start. Go make a coffee. Don't start.
Where is she going to be, Rebecca, this year?
First time.
Where? We can't hear you.
I thought it was just me.
She's in Tel Monde.
Doing what?
She's and the horse. She's working on a farm with horses.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Very Elad of her to do that.
And
She
very
loves to
cool.
she doesn't like office positions. She likes to get, she was offered several office positions, but she wanted to get herself dirty, dirty in the ground. She was actually looking for something for agriculture. They just opened up a new agriculture program.
She should have gone into Regavim as a madricha.
Nope, she's gonna be actually with the horses. She has
No, but I'm
contact.
saying if she wanted agriculture, you should have told me. I could have put her in Regavot.
I didn't know.
Yaakov used to have Benot Shirut on his farm, but they canceled the Tekken.
So Regavot is a girls' pnimiya. I mean, it's very far away from you. It's in the Golan. But it's a girls' agriculture pnimiya.
Know that?
Well, if
Anyway,
she wants to,
she's
if
with
she
her
wants to
horses and she's
change
happy.
or whatever, let me know.
Is that
Okay.
Regavim Benjamin?
My
No,
husband.
that's Regavot.
Oh, באמת?
Okay.
Amy, I can go through all of the regavims with you so that you know who the players are and where they are. Okay, call me anytime.
Do you know that they all belong to Ruach HaGolan? All of the Regavim belong to Ruach HaGolan.
Anywhere in the country, really?
Anywhere in the country, they belong to Ruach HaGolan, which means that Ruach HaGolan is becoming this ma'atzama.
Interesting.
It's all of Yossi's schools, all of the Regavimim. It's like amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's quarter
Could
to
you
12.
go down, please? Because we have to finish and before, I want a break before going to communities. Okay. The courses and communities. I'm going to say this. Haley, we love you. I love you. I'm hugging you
Hi.
from afar, Hales.
Haley, where did he go?
He's going to Alumim to keep it.
Oh, Adele.
Yeah,
Where's he going?
Kibbutz Alumim.
Alunim? You mean
No,
Yeah, the Mechina.
Alumim in Otef
Near me
Aza,
where all
Haley.
the fires are.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
They were
thought
making
Alunim
Eretz
near
but they can't.
Nahalal.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We love you, and I'm going to keep working so you get your mind off of
Haley,
us
now we
being
really
feeling
have to
bad
have
for
a
you.
coffee.
Yeah, we're going to have a break in a sec, Hales. All right? Focus
fine,
here
I'm
and
fine.
you're not thinking about anything. All right, Rebecca, that goes for you too. Okay,
Good see, I'm having a hard time. I'm sitting down today, huh?
that's okay. Okay, yesterday we asked for about 240 hours. It's another son or it's your husband?
No, it's my husband jumping up and down saying he's gone.
Mars and Venus, everyone. Mars and Venus.
She says Mars and
Oh, crack up.
Venus.
My husband was crying.
Have I ever said I love these Zoom meetings?
Yeah.
So much
Last
concentration.
Last night at dinner, I set the table and I said, Asaf's not here. And Yaakov said, that's okay.
They'll be back.
He will for
Just wait,
Shabbos.
Melissa. You may be having to make food on Erev Rosh Hashanah to take to my son in Hebron.
I will do that.
I haven't gotten there yet to that request because we're not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I think he's staying there. So
Wow.
I'm gonna
That's
order
hard.
food from you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we asked for about 280 hours of Hishtalmiyot for English this year. And I'm very proud to say that what we got was 60 to be done by the end of December. So out of the 300 hours that we asked for, we got 60, and we have to use them by the 31st of December. Okay, remember I told you that was a recurring theme. Okay, so it recurred in what we're doing with communities. So Melissa and I sent her a WhatsApp that says, we have to talk about courses with a little teardropped emoji. And we had a powwow yesterday about what to do with these 60 hours that don't do anything towards anything, about anything, okay? We also knew that was coming, and so we canceled the community leader meeting last week. I don't know if you actually paid attention, but we canceled it because I knew that I wasn't gonna have money to pay them. And if they're not opening a course because I saw the bullet coming, then okay, so we did that because I wasn't 100% sure what to do. So yesterday we decided a couple of things. Melissa, are you gonna start?
Yeah. I'm going to go through, okay, so basically
Before you show the chart, explain though the panoramic view.
We have something like 11 communities, and 5 of them are lead teachers, meaning not counselors running them. And so for them, we needed 30 hours each. And then we have another set of communities that you guys, the counselors, are running, and those are not budgeted communities, meaning you're leading the community based on your counseling salary. And you have to count that into the 7 hours that you do on the weeks that you have a community. And the problem,
though.
And in addition to that,
though.
What?
Go up on the form though, because it's not just communities, it's also courses.
No, this is just the community. Oh, the courses are below.
So I wanted the big thing.
So I'll just add one other thing. Sarit Dor, who's the mefakachat for the madrichim, she helps create, she's working with us to create a paradigm for hadracha for Corona, when we won't be visiting schools as much. And part of the paradigm for the hadracha is meant to be community, and there are fewer madrichim every year. They keep cutting the budget for hadracha. We keep our madrichim because we use the money very well, and we do a great job, and it's very needed. But here, when we're looking, so she wants these communities to be part of the paradigm for hadracha, and one reason she said that is because we in the English department have been experimenting with that for the last couple of years, and we feel like it's going well. It's much more useful to have a series of 8 to 10 meetings with this group of teachers, even if they're from different schools, to work on developing things rather than ploop, 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 ploop. We come in, we visit a school for 2 hours, we run out, they forget that we were ever there, and nothing progresses in the school, right? When we know we have them for a 30-hour gmul for 8 to 10 sessions a year, it's much more likely to develop the quality of our English teachers and what's going on in the schools. So we think it's going well. So here's the big picture of where all of our hours went, first of all, okay? So this is the first one here is the choice board course. Okay, and as we said, Debbie Cohen will be teaching some of the sessions. But she will also be doing a lot of the back, along with Sohan, will be doing a lot of the back work of grading things. We've spoken to Amy about it also, and Amy, we have to touch base again with, you know, exactly what part you're playing with it, I haven't forgotten about that. And she'll be giving comments on the work that people does and making sure that they've completed all of the sessions that they need to, et cetera, and so forth. And we'll all be teaching, you know, the sessions. Okay. The next one here is the 10 by 10 course, the basic technology. And as we said, we're putting that on hold. It's not getting any funding for this year. And we're going to be asking for the 30 hours starting in January to see if we can run it in January. Okay, so now we have the rest of the courses. Okay, these are the you'll notice, Amy, that Yardane is missing from this list, and that's after a discussion that I had with him yesterday. I called all 5 of the lead teachers, and I said, so you know that 30 hours that I told you about? Right now, we've got about 6 to 10 hours to give you, depending on how many people bite. Okay, and so Tal, Zimrat, Paula, and Tal, Zimrat, and Paula I spoke to, and they all said yes, we'll go ahead and we'll do it. We'll open up the community based on the possibility that we'll be getting more funding in January, and if not, it's possible that that counselors and Judy and me, like, you know, we'll double up, and it's possible that we'll have to take responsibility for more communities on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's possible that we'll have to finish out the course with more Murukaz Yemei Iyun type of activities rather than the community as we know it. We want to make sure that all of our teachers get their 30-hour Gmul after having done real professional development. If we don't get the funding in January, it's possible that it will lose the character of a community and more gain the character of a MOOC or a course or something. What else can I tell you about this?
Wait, that your den said no thanks?
One second. Martine is in a separate category because we're trying to get separate funding from Ruach HaGolan for her, which Judy said before. They have a certain amount of money for funding. And I have to speak to Yardane again today, but he's basically in a different category. He's been very nervous about taking community to begin with. And when he heard that it's going to be virtual, he said, no dice. He said, I don't see that a virtual community is something that will go. I don't want to run a virtual community, and I don't want to put it off until January. And he basically, for a variety of reasons, we felt like it's better to put him on hold and see if there's a more optimal situation for pulling him in next year for helping us. And if we have something in January to offer him, we'll offer him something in January. But right now he's off the table. And there's another, so each of these people that I spoke to, I said, basically I could imagine
wait, one more thing I just want to say. We don't have to open it.
That's exactly what I was going to say next.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The next thing I was going to say is I said to them, basically, I could see you saying 3 different things. Thanks, but no thanks. And I said, by the way, I said, everything I'm about to say has no reflection on what I think of you professionally, because I had a big fight with Judy in the morning, not a fight, but a big discussion about whether or not it was even embarrassing to offer them this situation. Okay. And so I said, you can say thanks, but no thanks. You could say, I'll go for it, and with the hopes that I'll get more money in January. Or you could say, I'll wait till January and we can open the community in January if we get the 30 hours of funding. Right? And it'll be a community that'll run from January to June instead, which there are a lot of courses that open in January. And so these guys all said, well, I'll be getting Gmul, the 30-hour Gmul for it. So anyway, I would want to be there. So we're looking at the counselors, or me and Judy and Adela. I don't know exactly what it is. The counselors doing a lot more of the back, like the organizing, who's going to present, what's happening next, who's bringing kibud to our Zoom, etc. And then, but the lead teacher would still be there on that night. And I can imagine that they'll want to keep the ma'amad of some kind of a lead teacher on that evening. So, but we're hopeful that we'll get some more funding in January. I just don't know. I don't know what the situation is.
Understand.
Amy, you don't look very happy.
Wait. Adele, what?
I don't understand. If we just get the 7.5 hours and we're hoping to get the 22 and a half hours. Does that mean that people who are starting the 7.5 hours might not be getting 30 hours gmul?
Okay, so Melissa said, I'll explain again. Okay? We have to finish 7.5 hours by the 31st of December. Afterwards, we have another 22 and a half hours that if we don't get budget for these outside people and we have to do it internally, then we will either do it in Yamim Kazim, which are like Zoominars, or we'll do it in other things, or we'll do it in cluster meetings. They will get their gmul, okay? But it won't be done by the lead teacher. And it'll become more of a hishtalmut than a community. It's going to have to change face.
Okay, I understand that. I just don't understand.
So I don't understand your question.
Usually when you open up a course, you have to have each session written down for what it's going to be and when it's
but we never go by that anyway. So it doesn't really matter. And the community has case study. And if I have to change the Oman, I will. Okay, that is a technical, administrative, not important part.
Now,
what's more important here is what the relationship is between the lead teacher if they stop doing it. It's a disempowering of a lead teacher for one of us to come and usurp their course. Okay.
Now the other option is that we can say we're not opening those communities. Like we can say we've put in for this funding. This chart that you see, we sent in yesterday already to request this much funding for this year and the rest of it for next year. We could just say join the choice board course instead, guys. We're not running communities until we know what funding we have, and maybe in January.
It's a possibility.
And
it's here on the table.
The ones that we're talking about are the ones that you see in front of you right now. Renata,
No, it's all communities. I want the discussion about all communities.
Well, we have two different categories. We have the funded ones, and then we have the non-funded ones down here.
I understand. I'm not talking about the chart now. I'm talking about pedagogy. Okay? It's very possible that a virtual community is something that we decide not to do, or that there are counselors who don't want to do that. Okay? That is an option. I can't say that it's going to be virtual. I can say that it's starting out virtual. Okay? That has its own issues. Okay? If you're more than 10 people right now, we can't put you in a room.
Okay.
So it's starting out virtual. There are some who don't have an option. Okay? There's a virtual community that Melissa's running that has a lot of her schools and Amy's schools in it. That was supposed to be virtual from the beginning. And it has to be virtual because they live in God knows where of everywhere in the country. Okay. The other one that has to happen is Rebecca's, because Rebecca has a specific topic of teachers all over the country, from Syria all the way to Eilat. Okay. The other one that has to happen is Tal Alkali's, because Tal is doing a place where teachers don't necessarily have hadracha, really, in her area, okay? And that's another, all the whole Shomron and everything else. Those are places where Haley is doing it, but it's not Haley. They're not Haley's. They're Haley's WhatsApp, okay? And so some of these have to happen. I want one of Sohad's to work because she didn't have one last year. And so they're already in, behind the 8 ball. And what Melissa did say is all of the ones that we have done, except for Sohad's and Rebecca's, theoretically, are on their second year. So we should be okay doing it virtually, okay? Because the second they've had it once virtually, or at least partially virtually, or they had last year to meet up with each other, then it's a continuation of what we did. In other words, a lot of the people know each other. So you're not starting from scratch, okay? There are a couple that are starting from scratch, and that's gonna be more of an issue, all right? But if you come and you say to me, Melissa, can you mute? Melissa, mute yourself. I love you, but if you don't mute yourself when you're on the phone, I'm gonna kill you.
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's just we have to. It is totally 100% possible that you're gonna say in my area, virtual isn't gonna work, and we'll talk about it. Okay, it is an option not to do it. I think we should, but if you decide when we start talking about virtual counseling that that is something that you're gonna do in a different way, I just think it's worth it for the teachers to get Gumul. That's all. Like, I think having these cluster meetings is also a good idea when you have a staff meeting on Zoom or whatever, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. But on the other hand, I think that they should be getting Gumul as well. So this is also not just for us, it's also for them. All right, so it's something that we will discuss, and we really, it's like Alwana time. Did you send Alwana the link?
Why can it only be 10 in a room if students can be 18 in a pod?
Well, because it keeps changing and we're still on last year's thing. Right now, the Hanchaya is it can only be virtual. All courses right now are 100% virtual. That's the Hanchaya. Okay, but like last night at 11 o'clock, they closed schools in the Arima
Hi,
Dumont,
Anna.
and this
How are
morning
you?
at 7:45, they opened them
Good.
again.
Good. Are you
You
ready to
never
join
know
us?
what's going to be.
Okay, I'm gonna
right
send
now,
you the link
Amy,
right now.
It's virtual,
I'm
period.
I'm
Every
sending it to
single
you right
course
now.
that we do, every single community, in every single subject, in every single anything is virtual. This is Corona, and with all of whatever it is, that's what it is. Okay, it is virtual. All right, and it just is what it is. All right, and you can make a decision that you don't want to have it, but then your teachers don't get gmul for anything that you want to do with them. And I don't think that that's right either. So if Yarden isn't doing it, you need to make the decision if you're willing to do it. The rest, and all of you, each of you has to make that decision. Okay, I put it in, but it's lo metuktav. All right, so you have to tell me, because then I have to take it off the list of, you know, the courses that I have to, that Sohad today in the afternoon, we're writing all the Yomanim, so it has to be done today. The decision has to be made. Hey, Awana! The decision has to be made today whether or not you're going to run your community in your area or not.
I think we need to give everybody a break to get a drink.
I wanna 3 minutes. Let them go and stand up for 3 minutes, okay, sweetie?
That's good. That's fine. Yep.
Okay, go guys, have a break for a few minutes.
Is it there?
Arona, is there anything I need to put up on the screen, sweetie? Arona? Arona, you there?
Judy, I adopted a daughter.
Oh, who's that?
My niece. She didn't want to go back to her school and she quit. So she heard about the school that my daughter learned in. So she went for the interview and got accepted on the spot. So, but
So
she
she's
lives
gonna
in
be
Beit
living
Shemesh.
with you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So at least I told her, I said, one requirement. When I come in through the door, you're going to pretend to be my daughter. I said, how was your day? Because my daughter always says that to me. Mom, how was your day?
You see, one went, one came.
Yeah, I just wish my son would come home. We haven't seen him in 3 weeks.
That's what just happened with mine. I think I may not see him till after Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm
dying.
putting it together. I'm keeping it together.
Mhm.
It's a good thing I have it Yeshvuti to keep me busy.
Alana, are you here?
I think she stepped out for a second, unless she's frozen.
I think she's stuck.
You know, I had nobody's here with us. Okay. I had the day before our Yom HaChut, I met with my staff in the evening to do this whole thing about how to open up the school year virtually. And I used the presentation that I did with Nati. The teachers gobbled it up. Can you share it? Can you share it with us? And then on the day of the Yom HaChut, I did clerical work. You know, because you can't do clerical work and you can't really focus on the connecting with the kids on the same day, because it's sort of, clerical work puts a dampens everything. It gives it such a terrible flavor. So I figured we were already on a roll with terrible flavor, so let's keep up with it. And then yesterday they did something with, you know, the concept of virtual learning in the classroom, the Zooming while you're teaching. So our principal tried to give us a touch of that water. You know, you waste 20 minutes just getting connected. It was so.
There are some schools, first of all, it hasn't passed Bagatz yet.
Hasn't what?
It hasn't passed the Supreme Court yet, that you're allowed to open up an internet camera in the classroom.
But it wasn't with the kids. The camera, the way he positioned the camera.
You're not listening to me.
Okay.
Having a camera physically in the classroom, no matter who it's pointing at, has not gotten Supreme Court decision yet.
Okay.
Okay, I know that we're using them. I know they're only pointed at the teacher or the board. I know. I'm just saying, it still hasn't gone through the Supreme Court yet. I mean, people are doing it. People are doing it, okay? And especially for Na'ale kids who are abroad, there's no other choice. They have to start studying.
Right.
Okay, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying that as of yesterday, it was still illegal.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it should be illegal. There are a lot of other things that are illegal that we're doing. But I'm saying, just no. And so a lot of schools, the principal is opening it up in the morning and leaving it on all day. So you shouldn't have.
The good thing is our classes, not all our classes have the camera in there. So it was only one.
That's what I'm saying. You leave it on the whole day and then you don't have 20 minutes of setup time. You just keep the room open. Keep the Zoom open.
With the fire north, sometimes you have vandalism. So you can't keep the room open.
These kids are going to have to learn not to do that because the other kids aren't going to be able to study if they break the cameras. That's something, it's a new thing. They have a new rule. Don't touch the camera.
They put it all the way in the season.
Can I just ask what you're talking about?
We're talking about internet cameras for the Na'ale kids who are still abroad. Bagat still hasn't passed the camera law, so you're theoretically
That's correct.
not.
They haven't. I know that. That's right.
I know, except for the Na'ale kids, we don't have a choice because they're abroad and we can't bring them back. I have a Avodat Gemel student in Guatemala that I've been writing letters left and right and calling consulates to get him back. And they won't let him get on it. They won't let him get on a plane.
They won't.
Because
That's
Guatemala is very red.
Right. Guatemala is very red. That's correct.
All of South America. So he can't come back. I mean, we can bring from everywhere else, but we can't bring from Guatemala specifically.
Yeah, but
So-
so that's okay. If he can study online, he can study online, can't
That's
he?
okay, except the Bagat says we're not allowed to open an internet camera in the classroom.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's
Ask you
supposed
about
to do a project.
No, I'm talking about all the lessons. I'm not just talking about English. I don't care about English. She's an English speaker. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the other classes where the teachers are teaching Chomer and Tochen.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah,
Guys,
well,
they
okay.
can send him the chomer and the tochen. It's fine.
He
I mean,
couldn't do
I don't-
his Bagrut last year because the consulate in Guatemala wouldn't get organized enough to get him to do it. So, okay, Alana, I asked you before, but you weren't here. Is there anything that we need to share with the teachers? Do you want to share part of the PowerPoint? Do you want to share other material?
Of what? For what? From what?
For what you're doing now? Do they have to look at anything?
No. Right now, I actually wanted to talk more about how we set the priorities for our teaching this year. Okay?
Good. Go.
And I also wanted to talk to the teachers about where they think they're going to have specific challenges in the priorities that they set. That's my big question. So we have 5 things that are not different from the past. 1, we want to get them to Bagrut. 2, we want to get each of them to Bagrut. 3, we want to know what we have to work on with each individual student. 4, we have to know where the pitfalls are. And 5, most important, we have to identify for ourselves where we find the challenge to be most severe. In other words, what's the most difficult thing for us to teach and how? If we have kids face to face, right, we have to utilize that time. We have to consider that time a gift. If we're teaching in capsulot, it gives us almost a present of having smaller groups. I just don't know, because I don't have the data from you guys, but I don't know how many of you are now teaching or planning to teach, or your school is planning to teach 90% face-to-face, 70% face-to-face. We don't know what's going to be happening. Some of the Kfarei Noar, the kids are there all the time. Then they go home for 2 weeks. They go home for Shabbat, and then they come back, and who knows what's going to happen as a result, right? In these, we don't know. I don't know. Each Kfar Noar is organizing themselves differently with regard to how they're letting the kids come back in, what they have to see. What are they taking temperatures? Are they checking to see if the cough is really? Who knows? So. And so I sort of need more information about who's doing what, but I think that number 1, upside down, is if we have our face-to-face time. We've been spending a lot of time learning digital tools, technological tools, making this on Google this and making that on Google Hoop and Hop and Heap and Hope. But one of the things we really have to do is, if we have smaller groups of kids, this is our time to work with them on fine-tuning skills, number 1, and number 2, actually seeing where the pockets of challenge are. In other words, what's going to get in the way, okay, of success. And once we identify what's going to get in the way of success, we can work on that in smaller groups. If we take the whole, and again, I'm talking Ba'avir, but if we take the whole program of the things that we have to do, we have to teach a story or a poem. We have to teach a bunch of stories or a bunch of poems. We have to teach them how to access an unseen. We have to teach them how to write a composition. Okay, that's what we have to do. What else do we have to do? What else do we have to do? Do we have to actually spend time doing grammar worksheets? Do we actually have to spend time doing, in face-to-face class time, Quizlet vocabulary activities? I don't know. Right? Let's see how we can use that face-to-face time most efficiently. Most efficiently. And if we're doing differentiation in our classrooms, which we have to do because of the kinds of student bodies we have, then how do we set up an appropriate learning method and pattern for the day? Is there a schedule on the board? Is there some group activity that we're going to do, and then individual work that they're going to do, and then they're going to come back again? Are we going to evaluate achievement for the day? In my opinion, achievement for a successful, a teacher should feel success in her day's work if she has 98% of the kids with her in the class, if they came, if they actually looked at her. This is not the time for the kids to be with their capuchonim on their heads, going on, they're not, that's not going to happen. And that's why we have to find our pathways to the kids this year more than ever. I even think it's more than a pathway. I think it's like a lifeline. We have to maintain this lifeline contact with our learners.
Because we don't know them first, though.
Because we don't know when it's going to split. We don't know when we're going to lose that lifeline. So we have to, I would suggest doing some kind of evaluative assessment to know what we want to work on, to know where the kids are stuck, to know which kids we don't have to worry a lot about, as far as their English skills are concerned. And then we decide how we want to actually prioritize in our teaching. So let's take a model. Okay, let's take a model. Do we want to take a 9th grade class? Do you want to take a 10th grade class? Choose a grade.
10th.
What grade?
10th.
Okay. So if we take a 10th.
Wait, Rebecca, why 10?
Because I think since we see most of the Yud Aleph and Yud Bet team, and Akfar, I know they're mandatory, but the Yudim, they're coming in drones. And it's really hard to plan for them when you're only seeing, for example, we calculated that we're going to see Yud Aleph, Yud Achad Ve'arba 4 times in 2 weeks. And then Yud Shtaim and Yud Echad is we're going to see them 6 times. There's no even distribution of the lessons.
No, that's not what I'm asking you, sweetie. I'm asking what we're going to do now is we're going to plan a model. Okay, we're not planning a model for one school. I want to know why Yud is the most difficult one. In your Kfar, it's because they're not having. Is that the same in all of your schools?
In my
Yud is the
school, it's 'cause
problem?
they're new to the school and to our
Okay,
teachers.
but there are only 2 schools like that in the Minhal, Ames.
Wow.
There are only 2 schools that start in Yud.
Your hair
You
is
and
beautiful.
Mosinson.
I think
It
that
looks gorgeous.
Doesn't it look gorgeous? It does.
Really?
Yeah, Nati?
I think that 9th grade
You do
would
look
be
gorgeous,
more appropriate because
Which?
9th grade.
Okay. Why?
Because they're about to move up to the high school, and they're in a year where they will get less hours because most of the principals, at least what I hear, is like they are lowering the hours, less hours of English. And or some of it will be online. Most of the schools I hear from, they are just almost dismissing the Zoom lessons. They want to have either frontal lessons or asynchronous lesson or synchronous. Some of them are talking about asynchronous. So here, it's not like doing the same thing face-to-face or on Zoom, but doing the amount of material we want to cover.
I think, wait a second. I have this amazing father who, Baruch Hashem, is 92 years old and right on the mark. So he said to me, Tagidi, he lives in America. I said, everyone here is hysterical. Do you really think that missing a year of school is going to make a long-term difference in kids' lives? Do you really think? No, I don't think.
Not really, no. But the fact that we're in a new situation.
No, Rega. So I don't think we're talking about material. Anyway, in English, we don't have material. We want them to be in English. No,
okay, so guys, I want to focus on my question.
Okay.
I want to go back to your question.
I want you to be counselors now. I don't want you to be coordinators.
Or teachers.
Okay? Or teachers. I want you to take 2 steps back. We have 170 schools. Okay, I don't care about your personal school. That's not a bad thing. Just take it as it is, okay? I don't want you to think about your school. I want you to think about Reed, okay? Coming into 10th grade happens in Kfarei Noir, but they also come in Yud Aleph and in Yud Bet, and they come in Zayin and Chet and Tet also, okay? For Amy's school, there are only 2 schools that get Yud kids. Okay, so that isn't a reason. One second, I see you, Arona. I actually think that Tet is the best one, or Zayin, okay? Because these are the schools that we need to find out who they are. And for 60% of my schools, not 60, 40, we're only getting Tet as new kids. Zayin and Tet are new kids, okay? And those are the ones that we need to evaluate because those are the ones we don't know. And what we do for Tet, for the new kids coming in, can be applied to Yud as well. Okay, because they're going to be strategies. It's not going to be content. All right. So I think that maybe Tet, if I look at it as Reed and not as my school, I'm a coordinator. I think that 9th or 10th is Ainoach. Okay. In terms of the strategies that we're going to use to do this.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And I think I also, I think that I think the process should probably be relatively systematic at the beginning. Okay.
Right.
Number 1, these are the kids. These are the kids that I have. Kachazeh, you know, that wonderful, there's that beautiful poem called Fizog. Fizog.
Yes.
Where he says, I just got this name.
That.
What do I do with this name? That's who I am, my Fizog. I'm not called this, that, or the other thing. I'll share the poem with you in a minute.
I'll find it. Keep going.
This is who we are. These are our kids. In order to know who they are, we need to do 3 things. 1, 2, 3. We need to talk to each of them. We need to talk to each of them. We need to hear them. We need to hear their voice. Number 2, and I think a really nice thing to do is at the beginning of, is to encourage our teachers to share some information about themselves with the students and ask the students to write them something that they want the teacher to know about them. It can be in Hebrew, it can be in English. Something that they want the teacher to know, something that's important for the teacher to know about them. That's number 1. Number 2, we can give a screening kind of tool, which I can share with you, that can help us identify the stronger students. It can help us identify where some of the kids are stuck. And most importantly, there's a questionnaire. How do you feel about English? And that gives us information. Judy, are you frozen?
No, I'm looking for the poem.
How do you feel about English? That gives us information about how the kids feel about English.
I always say, what is one thing that you did in English that you really enjoyed? Okay, because they're not coming off of a no planet. This isn't the first time they're in an English class. And I always say, what was one activity that you ever did in English that you enjoyed? Okay, that also gives you a feeling of, was it all death? Or was there like one thing when we played a game with cards that I like to do? That also helps you reach the kid if he puts up a wall, because you know that one thing that he actually has a good memory of. Okay?
And he also might say nothing. He also honestly might say nothing.
Say nothing. Yeah.
And
100%.
that's fine. We want to know who those kids are. So that's number 1. Number 2, so 1 is to have a conversation, which can happen over a period of a couple of weeks, but we want to have a conversation. That's number 1. Number 2, this tool can give us a lot of information about knowledge. We can use it in 9th grade. We can use it in 10th grade. And number 3, we have to say to ourselves, what is it that we want to make sure 95% of the kids in my class can do by the end of the year? Can do, as far as English skills are concerned. Because if we don't manage to do a poem or a story, no bemet, lo noa. It would be nice if we could, but if we can't, lo noa. It would be really, what we want is we need to get the majority of the kids developing skills to access a text, whatever way it is. Being able to use an electronic dictionary or a dictionary of some kind, that's a really important skill. And we also want them to be able to express themselves on a very beginning level. Okay, here's the poem. This face you got, this here fazog you carry around, you got rid of it, Judy. How come you took it off?
It's in the chat.
I put it in the agenda.
Hi, Adele with all of her balloons.
I put it in the agenda. I don't know what you're looking at.
I put it in the chat.
In the chat.
Oh, okay. Carl Sandberg. Yeah, I put it there. It's in the agenda file so that you can see it later.
Actually, a very, very nice poem. And it's what, you know, you do the best with what you get. I mean, he didn't believe in plastic surgery. We don't have plastic surgery in our classrooms either.
Nope.
So it's okay. What we do have is a way to plan and to think about our kids. So when we have a conversation and we know a little bit about them and we have done this kind of screening tool or whatever, then we can take the results from that and what we think we want to have the kids learn during the year, and on that basis, plan. The book, whatever book you've chosen, that's not a Bible. It's a guideline. It's a guide. There's nothing in any of the junior high or high school books, nothing that the kids absolutely have to know. There's stuff hidden in there. We can use it as a help, as a guide. We need this year more than any, I've heard this from a whole bunch of teachers of ninth graders coming in.
Judy, do you see that I'm taking notes below?
I know. I added notes that you didn't write. I added my notes to the top.
Okay.
One of the things that I've been hearing from teachers is that, especially with our kids who are at risk, and especially with the ninth graders coming in, and I guess it'll be the 10th graders if they're starting new also, and some of the 10th graders, is this, and we know this is a severe, severe issue with kids at risk always. The future is almost petrifying to think about. It's become more petrifying. In other words, when we think that English, we can teach them that English is important for their future and for traveling and for work, I don't think they can see it right now. Right now, no one's going anywhere. Right now, working, if they have siblings, they're working in supermarkets. Right. What do we need it for? And not only English, what do we need this all for? So here we are, and we just don't, we don't see a future. And gam kacha, we know that kids at risk have a hard time imagining future. Okay? So one of the things that we want to do is create we have the ability and we have the zchut to use our language as an access point to things of high interest. And as far as I'm concerned, what did you want to say?
I wanted to say that sometimes that's very problematic with the at-risk kids because their level is so low that it's very difficult to get to something that they're interested in if the vocabulary isn't, I get it. Right. I know, but I'm just saying that's, for some teachers, that's the most difficult part, is you want to connect to something that's relevant to them, but after you did an evaluation, you realize that the word, they can't even read the word guitar. So even if I give them lyrics to a song, that isn't going to help them because they're not able to in any way deal with a song except maybe if it's Dust in the Wind and no one wants to listen to that. Okay, so in that respect, I always think that that's the tension is there. You want it to be as relevant as possible because these are at-risk kids, but then the level of language is so high that they can't fathom or do anything. And that's a lot of times where we fall between the cracks.
Right, so I'd like to make a few suggestions regarding that, but before that, so one is high interest. If we know what they're interested in, that helps us a lot. If they're interested in anything, that helps us, that can help us a lot. We can't keep, and the other thing is we can't expect them all to be super interested all the time. I think Judy has a beautiful picture of teachers that she met with this week that demonstrate that. And maybe she'll show it to you later, but no faces. So first she has to block out the faces.
Yeah, I'll show you. Oh my God, that was horrible. Yeah.
The other thing that I think is very, very important is that with kids who are at risk, they need apparently, right? There are a few things that we know help kids who are at risk succeed in whatever that means. One is their own resilience to manage, but two is to feel needed. To feel needed, to feel important. Where would we be if they weren't here? When a kid comes into class and puts his head down on the desk, he's telling us, I did my job for you today. I got up, I got dressed, and I came. If we relate to that as then
pick up your head and start doing your work.
Be with me, pay attention, it's not about us, it's about them. So if they know that we're expecting them and we're so happy to see them and we'll accept them today with their head on the desk for some of the time, eventually maybe the head might come up. But we have to be very, very responsive to the fact that they've done things. Ifat Greber from Brenner has been teaching Chinuch Miyuchad and 3-point classes for years in her school.
She's going to be doing one of our sessions on special ed with Alana in the series.
And one of the things that she's been doing for years is this recognition of your being. She, believe it or not, she takes attendance every lesson with a big chart. And she writes down who came, and she writes down who has a writing utensil, and she writes,
Wait, Nati, can you mute yourself, please, sweetie? But be careful because you're driving. We lost her.
I can do
Melissa,
it. I'll do it.
Mute her, please. Thanks.
And she also writes down if they have a writing utensil, and if she gave an assignment or if they have paper, she writes it all down. She gives them credit for coming. She gives them credit for being. She gives them credit for, there's an expression in French, je suis prête. I am ready. I am ready to be here. If she sees that and she gives them credit for it, and that goes into the grade. It means that she recognizes, as a teacher, the complexity of being a learner, a student. Okay, so if we have to sort of, and it's like talking in the wind or in the air, and it's not going to happen overnight for some of our kids who are really like this. And some of the kids who are new to the Kfarei Noar might not even want to be there. They might not even want to be there. All right, and we get them when we say they're not motivated. Of course they're not. They're not motivated to do what? They're not motivated to learn what we want to teach them. But they actually came into class. They did that.
How do we get them to do a basic evaluation, Alana? I'm bringing you into the 7th grade diagnostic for a minute.
Or I'll even give you the 9th grade. So
I want us to do a little bit of that because they're going to have to help also their Israeli schools do this.
So if you'd like to see it, I'm happy to share it. What I think that, and I'll just send it to you. I'm sending it to you by email. So what I think is we want to do is, if we have kids that refuse to do something like this, when we do give a screening test in class, we have to make it accessible to everyone. What does that mean? That means that if a kid raises his hand and says, "Ani lo mevin po klum," we say, "Bo ni akri lecha tzat, bo nireh im ze ozer." If he says, "Lo tzarich," lo tzarich. If we get the results and we see that they did nothing, we go find them. And there's certain things that we do with them in order to identify what they know. Our purpose in all of this kind of evaluative work is not to identify what they don't know. Thank God people don't ask us what we don't know. Thank God we're not tested every day of our lives on what happened in 1848, what happened in 1972, what happened on, I don't know how you say, miracle in Chinese. People don't ask us those questions. And here we come in with the kids and we're asking them all sorts of things because we want to see what they know so that we can say, oh, see, they didn't learn anything in junior high school and elementary school. What are we going to do about it? No, we're going to take what they know. And with that, we're going to build what we can. It's very challenging. I'd like to share, if you don't mind, I'll send it to you by email. And if you want, we can look through it very, very quickly, and you can see what you might want to use from there and how you might want to use that, okay?
And then we're going to look again at your red, yellow, and green from the 7th grade and try and make a plan.
So which would you like to do actually
let's
first?
start with the 9th grade first.
Okay. So
guys, this is a 9th grade screening exam that Awana used to use. It is not what we showed in her thing. This is something else for 9th grade.
It's actually something that a lot of schools have asked for this year, and I'm sending to Melissa. Should I send to Melissa or to you, Judy?
Melissa, she's hosting.
So I just sent to Melissa.
And
And
also put them in the Zoom chat. You can upload a file there if it's enabled.
Oh, it's okay. I can send this to everybody.
But share it on the screen
I'd
first.
like you to share it on the screen.
I'm getting
Then if you
there.
want to send it, when you send, well, I'm happy to, I'll send it to all of you in all the, we have it in Hebrew, we have it in Arabic, we have it for Frummy boys, we have it for Frummy girls, we have a teacher's guide, and we have an Excel file.
I just didn't receive it yet, so I'm just waiting for it to come through, and then I'll share it on the screen.
The one of the things that I want to say, and I think that that's really important, and I want to go over it again because I want to say it 17 times, and I want to.
You don't have it yet, Melissa?
No.
Yeah.
You sent it to my Gmail?
To your Gmail, yeah.
We have to identify what students can do now. I think that that has so many important words to that sentence. Okay, and it's something that I want us to also say to the coordinators and to our teachers. We need to know what our students can do now, okay? Not what they could do before, and not what they don't know how to do, and not what they don't know that they once did. I want to know where they are right now, okay? That is really important also when you explain that to the student, that that's what you're looking at. What you can do right now so that I know where I need to take you, okay? What you know now is where I need to take you, okay? It's not what I knew in Kita Vav when I had a report card. Maybe I watched Netflix all summer and I'm in a different place. Maybe I worked all summer and I forgot everything, okay? Where are you right now? And what can you do right now? And I think that has to be the sentence.
It's an interesting point that you make, because I often tell my teachers, you have to keep backing up until you figure out where they are before you can start from there. Don't take a book that's too hard for them, because then they'll never get their grip in. Like they need to be able to grab onto something before they can get started.
Exactly, but I think that's why we can do this. We can sort of figure out where they are, sort of. And also oh, you got it, good, I'm glad you got it. Okay. Tell him, right, okay? So let's just look quickly at the tool.
Oh my God, there are more, that's really weird.
Yeah, why don't you open the email and then we'll
I sent you all the files, all of them.
So tell me where to start.
Open up anyone, this one's good, that's the teacher's guide, that one's fine. Open up that one. Okay, so if you see that it says, how do you feel about English, with a translation into Hebrew? Keep going. That's how we start. It's not at the end, it's at the beginning.
Excellent.
Okay? And ani b'derech klal, no, all these different things, חשוב לי להצליח. One kid did this test and he said, אני כל שנה אומר שחשוב לי, ואני כל שנה אומר שאני צריך עזרה, ואני לא מקבל. לא קיבלתי. אז אם אני אגיד שאני צריך עזרה, אני אקבל עזרה? This is at a new school.
I know a million kids like that.
And I said, if the kid talks to me like that, he
then
really
he
wants to help.
That's right.
Okay. Then the next part is perhaps whatever. So there's a couple parts here that I think are very, very important. They have to circle the word that the teacher says. That's really, really easy. Keep going. Now is the most important part. In the teacher's guide, there are 5 questions. The questions are read aloud by the teacher, one by one. The questions are read aloud in English. The kids can answer in English, which we like the best, in Hebrew, which is okay, in their native tongue if we have someone who can translate it, and then there are kids that won't answer anything. If a child answers a question in English, he's already a cut above. If he answers a question in Hebrew, where the Hebrew or the L1 matches the content of the question, he's in the second cut. In other words, he's telling me, I understand the question, I don't feel comfortable, or I don't know how, or I'm not quite sure about how to answer in English. So if I answer in Hebrew and his answer makes sense, it fits the question, then I know he understood the question. If he doesn't answer at all, then I don't know if it's because he didn't understand. He's being anti-tanti. He's afraid to make a mistake. But it's almost like a call for help. And so if I see that more than 2 questions are not answered, that's a kid that I would take one-on-one eventually. Find one-on-one and spend a little bit of time with, maybe even with the diagnostic part of the ABLE kit, and maybe just for a little conversation, okay? And I would find out more about this kid. It's a message. In 2 seconds, we get a lot of information, okay? Then we go back to very beginning. It's very, very simple reading. These are all cognates. There's a very simple text, true, false, very simple. Here the questions are in English, not in Hebrew like in the 7th grade, but we already have our information about the Hebrew. Keep going. You can keep going quickly now. And now we have some vocabulary, and we have a more complex text. And for the Haredim, they go to a radio studio. There's no such thing as television, so they go to a radio studio. All right. And then there's a short piece of writing. C'est tout. That's it. Okay.
Why are they allowed to use a dictionary for that small text?
They're not. No, they're not allowed to use a dictionary.
No, it says you can.
For this part, they can use a dictionary. They can't use a dictionary for the beginning. Not for the beginning, for this part. From the listening, after the listening, they can use a dictionary. That's fine. What I also ask the kids to do, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't, is to just circle the words they looked up. I'm perfectly happy to see that. And I tell them it's for me to learn from, not for them to be embarrassed, okay? And I also can tell that way, kids who use the dictionary and they do very, very well, and they've circled lots of words, that tells me that their brain is working right.
And they can also use a milonit.
Mm-hmm, they can. And they're very nervous. They're kids that look up a lot of words. It's because they're nervous, okay? They're also kids that don't look up so many words, and they do fine. And they're kids that look up a lot of words and don't do very well. That also gives me a lot of information. It's all this secret, it's all this information that we get without even trying. It's all there, okay? And there's just a simple writing activity. That's it. And I would change the date because it's old. That's it. Finished. Gamarnu. Okay.
Why did we do the 7th grade diagnostic differently than this?
It's a different
I know,
concept.
but I'm asking, what was the difference in the concept?
The concept in the 7th grade was an en masse testing of all levels of learners. Okay. Here we're looking at older kids, first of all.
On a lower level.
On a lower level, biduk. And what we found with this, without intending it to do so, what it actually did was it told us who are the kids that we're going to have to push to 3, and who are the kids that are going to do 4 or 5 points. And who does 4 or 5 points? What's our clincher? The kids that answer in English. The kids who answer
those 5 questions in English.
That's
Rebecca,
it.
Rebecca, write that down.
That's it.
Okay.
That's
Rebecca,
it. Why
your mic is off, but I hear you trying to say something.
Say it again.
I said, please write down that the students who are going to be able to try for 4 answered the 5 questions at the beginning in English. That's the clue. That's the how we're going to decide who does 3 and who could do more. Okay? Thank you, Arona. That really helped a lot.
Because the idea is that if they answer in Hebrew, they're great, but they don't feel secure. If they don't, right? And we're going to have to work on their sense of security and what they feel strong about.
And that might take a long time.
Mm-hmm. And it'll take a long time. And that's why we're not going to push them to 4 automatically. And we're going to work with them towards success. I think another thing that we have to keep in mind, but I don't know if you have an inspector sitting here, so she might disagree with me. My priority is Bagrut. That's my priority.
100%.
That's my priority.
100%.
That's my priority. I don't, 3 or 4 points, I don't really care as much as Bagrut. That's number 1. Number 2, kids who want to be in a higher level class, we want to encourage that, because we know that if they're in a lower level class, they look at themselves differently. They turn
also
down
do less.
And they do less. right? They do less. It's like nobody believes in me, so that's it. Ani merim yadayim lechalutin, back in your face. We have kids who feel less, they feel nervous in the higher level classes. They ask to be in a different class. We're not going to fight with them. We're going to help them and prove to them that they do have the possibility of going into 4. Okay. The other thing that I'd like you to think about is that this tool, which you can use whatever you want, but this tool, as you see it, it doesn't look at grammar per se.
You have writing, though.
There's writing, that's productive knowledge. We have comprehension, that's being able to understand the tenses that we're in. And what I think is important to do is to administer parts of this test at the end of the year again. We want to know for ourselves if we've managed to help our learners move from N to N plus 1 or 2.
I said the same thing about the 7th grade diagnostic when
I said
Alona
that
was
also.
doing her thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So with the 7th grade, we say, give the reading and the rhyming words. The rhyming words are great. We can put them in here too. I don't think it's necessary. We could. But
I love that part.
Yeah, me too. But what we have here is a way of us saying, look, let's see if we taught them more about writing. Let's see if their writing got a little better. We taught them more about reading. Let's say if they can do the reading a little better. They'll remember that they did it. They won't remember what their answers were.
Oh yeah, no, they won't remember.
We have Tur Aleph and we have Tur Bet. We can play around with it. And I also wanted to share with you that if you have a group of kids that they're like they self-identify as native speakers, they self-identify as then Rama, have you shared the Rama site with everybody? Mm-hmm. So the Rama has now opened up their site, and what they've done is they've taken parts of Meitzavim and they've organized them according to skill. So that means that we can we can take a text, a module from Kita Chet, the last text, the highest level Bagrut text, Meitzav text, which is definitely more difficult than module A, and it's something that we can give to our 9th or 10th graders if they want to tell us that we want to sort of give them a little bit more of a challenge. The reading itself might not be more difficult, but the questions are less straightforward than on this Telem tool. And they're much less straightforward than on the 7th grade test, right? And that means their ability to use print to go higher, not just to understand what it says for face value, but to actually use higher order thinking in order to get to even higher level of comprehension. That's something that we tend to often miss because we're always looking at like vocabulary knowledge, and we're also looking at, they got 5 out of 7 wrong. What we want to know is where they're making mistakes. The other thing I'd like to suggest, but that's only for your kids who you might think should be in the higher hakbatzot, or the kids whose English is better. It's really, really important for us, and this is something that I like to do with my schools when I go in. Everyone loves numbers. But there's something important about not looking at the final grade of a screening tool like this, or an evaluative tool like this. The final grades that give us a lot of information are 95 and above and below 15. That's a lot of information. Anything in between doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't tell us what they know. It doesn't tell us what they don't know. And usually it's a combination thereof. And the points add up. Like I said, like in IKEA, everything adds up, right? You think you're buying 3 things in IKEA, and all of a sudden there were other things you picked up on the way out, and oh my goodness, how did it cost? Why is it costing me so much? Wait, maybe I don't need all these things. However, and of course we don't need all those. However, I think it's important, especially with kids that are anomalies, kids that are not clear to us, kids that seem to be doing very, very well in other subjects, and we see that they didn't do very well on the test. Let's look Let's look at their answers, even in the multiple choice answers. Let's look and see if their answer is almost right. Let's look and see if in the writing what we took off points for.
How do you see in a can I ask a question? How do I see in a multiple choice answer if it's almost right? Because they chose an answer that had a word that was also in the text. That would say to me, choser havana. That would say to me, identifying a word that looked the same.
Well, so you just answered your own question, but that's not my answer.
Okay. So sorry. Could you give me the professional real answer?
So my answer would be, first of all, maybe they missed the word not. Maybe they missed the word isn't. Maybe they missed one of those negative words in there that if you don't pay attention to it, you totally misunderstand the sentence. Maybe there are two possible answers here. I'll read you one.
She just pulls it off a shelf, guys.
I consider that so problematic, though, because multiple choice questions, I hate them to bits. You never know when it was a lucky or an unlucky.
Yeah, but there's always one that's totally wrong.
But they may have totally guessed. I took some tests in Hebrew once, I'm telling you. I marked Gimel every time because I would be right 1/4 of the time.
Amy, that's not what I'm saying. If a child is totally guessed, then there's a very good chance that two are right and everything else is wrong.
But how will I know?
That's why I said if we're talking about anomalies. We're talking about kids who are not, something's not clear to us. The math teacher says he's in 5 points, or he's going to do 5. We see he's in a 5-point class for math. We see that he's very, even at the beginning of the year, we see that there's a lot of positive vibes coming from this kid. And we see on the test that it's not good. Let's look and see. Maybe he misread a question. Maybe he missed an answer. Multiple choice for some people are terrible. Because
it happens a lot in our Vadot, we see that.
Better.
That even multiple choice in Hebrew subjects they don't do, but then they can write a lot.
Right.
Okay, we see it a lot.
So what we want to see is maybe what we have to work on with more kids is actually, do we understand what the question is asking us, wahad? And number 2, do we understand the fine distinctions between the possible answers? Look, Churchill is, in the south of Canada, near many cities, one of the coldest places in the world. Okay? Now, we didn't read the text, so we don't know about Churchill, although some of us do. Okay? It says in the text, and I'm going to read to you, it says, come visit Churchill. It's a tiny town in the north of Canada. It is one of the coldest places on earth. The nearest city is 250 miles away. And the question says, Churchill is, in the south of Canada, near many cities, one of the coldest places in the world. Okay? That's a right there question. That's a right there question. The answer to that question is right there in the text. But most of the questions that we ask on the higher levels are not right there in the text. And there's 2 possible answers. There's always 2 possible answers. Here, because it's a 5th grade level, the answers are very, very clearly different, and it's a right there question. We want to make sure, and that's what you will get from the Meitzav texts. They don't have right there questions in the last text. The confusion will be, here's another one. For example, here, I'll give you one. Here, multiple choice. There's not a lot of multiple choice because it's too much work. Here, okay? This is all about straws. So it says, Americans use more straws than any other people in the world. Americans use a lot of straws a day. Americans use straws in all sorts of different ways. Americans use enough straws to fill buses. All of those answers are exactly the same thing, that Americans use a lot of straws. The question was, do Americans use a lot of straws? Yes, no, prove it from the text. Those are your answers. Any answer fits. This is where kids have a really hard time. They get lost with the overabundance of questions. And sometimes they just choose because it's too much. Sometimes we have answers. I didn't have it prepared, otherwise I would have pulled it out for you. Sometimes we have, let's see if I can find one here, 1 minute. Sometimes we have 2 answers that could be very, 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 very similar. Okay?
What happens, Awana, if you have, I know that what we're doing is really important. I'm just afraid that we have too many of these anomalies.
No, I
And
don't think we
then-
have that many. I don't think we have that many, number one. I think we'll be able to very easily divide up, number one. Number two, this is data that we can collect over time. This is data that we can collect over time. I'm just
Okay.
concerned a little bit because I don't know how much information we're really going to be getting from the kids during
Or
the year.
how much time we're actually gonna have with them one-on-one.
We're not going to have a lot of time one-on-one.
I know,
We're not going to
that's
have a
what
lot
I'm
of time
saying.
one-on-one. But I think we can. I think when I was in high school, they used to tell us, if you really want to reach your congressman, send him a telegram. Okay, he's going to get thousands of letters. He won't read them. We know now that when we have one, and your voice counts. When we have
Right.
one kid in the class who we see is having trouble with certain kinds of questions, that's enough. That sort of screams out, that's enough for us to go and to teach everybody how to answer
Right.
the questions. In other words, we use the kids as, we use the kids to tell us what we have to work on.
Right.
We use their mistakes to learn from.
Right.
We learn,
But that's
see,
not the same, but that's not the same as looking at your whole class as a class.
no. It's you use individual kids,
Right.
you see where they're stuck, and then you take that stuckness
Right.
and you teach it as a skill in the whole class. And if you have time to spend with that child and a few other kids together to fine tune something that they seem to be dropping along the way, then
Right.
you use your time for that.
That's
I
just
think
totally different. That's a totally different goal. I'm not saying it to you, Alan. I'm saying it to all of us. That's a totally different goal than doing an entire class test and then seeing what the
Pictures.
class in general.
Right.
Okay, one
Right.
of the things we taught our teachers in the Meitzav classes was to look at the 4 skills, okay, even though it was homeroom, to look as a staff at the 4 skills and to see, like, example, remember when we did the writing portfolios, that was because Mechozi, our writing scores were alakantim, all right? They were like really, really, really low. And so we went and made everyone just give opportunities for writing. Okay, that was the idea because the Meitzav broke it up into skills. The diagnostic here, this one, this 9th grade test is giving us more specific knowledge per student and not necessarily a class overview.
No. We also have a class overview.
So can we see that, Melissa?
If you look,
Can you share the Excel that
the
Awana
Excel
sent you?
that I have, the Excel that I show there is not, you can't see colors. You don't see colors. I'll show you the colors in the 7th grade, but it doesn't matter.
But
The
I
idea
just want to
is-
see this one and see if it's the same.
It's the same idea. One second. It's the same idea. Oh, it's not me. It's you. Go ahead.
I know, I do that all the time. It should be an Excel, not a PDF, Melissa.
It's the last one. Keep going. There it is, right there. Okay?
You see, here we have the skills, guys. Do you see it at the
it's all
top?
divided up. It's all divided up according to skill. And what we ask for is don't really look at the final grade. Look at the patterns that you see in the sub-skills.
Right.
It's all divided up that way.
That's what Soha did in Zemer when she did the 7th grade diagnostic. Soha, say a word about it, sweetie.
Right. Last year, when they took the exam, it was divided according to skills. So
it still is. It still is divided according to skills.
So we had an idea about, the kids. It was colored in green, yellow, and red, and
it's like this.
saw the kids. Yeah, we saw the kids who were so weak in writing, for instance.
And then we took it to the Rosh Moetzah, and we said, look, this is what's happening in your Moetzah, guys. Okay, that's one of the things that we can do with our coordinators is say, once you have this mapping, when you go to the principal, you and the principal can go and sit, or with the counselor or with me, go and sit with Machleket HaChinuch and say, okay, this is what I've got, and this is what I need. Okay?
I just Judy, I just sent the results of a specific school
To
to
Melissa or
Melissa.
to me?
To
Melissa,
Melissa, I
can you see what she just sent you, please?
And it's a little creepy to look at, I have to say.
Why?
Why? Because you'll see soon what it is. You'll see that the highest score anybody got in that class was a
Is 3?
70. 70.
That is kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm. It is creepy.
This is the file. This is the file that your teachers are going to be, or your coordinators are going to be filling out with the 7th grade diagnostic. One of the things that you guys have to know, and these are the questions I want you to ask Alana, I'm going to ask you next week or the week after, right before Rosh Hashanah, to have some sort of cluster meeting with your teachers who did the diagnostic.
Move the names over so you can't see. They're not real names, but I don't want anybody to see any names at all.
To bring the diagnostic with them, this file, and I want us to talk and I want to give us a little bit of adracha on what we're going to do with our teachers who bring their diagnostics that look like this. Okay, let's say Sulam Tzor, Ofek, I'm just doing Amy because she's on my top square. Galil Maravi and Manor come to this cluster meeting, and they all have a chart like this. Okay, in red, green, and yellow per every single student in the 7th grade. Okay, I need Aona to give us, she walked away from the computer. When she comes back, I need Aona to give us questions to ask, things to look for patterns. And then let's say we find out that Aona, we're gonna need questions to ask them to answer and patterns to look for. And then what are we gonna do with them? Okay, Amy's gonna look at Sulam Tzor, which she'll never look at them, but let's just say she did look at them and they actually knew something with their lives. And she said to them, okay, so now you've got this great file, what are you gonna do? And they look at her with those deer in the headlight kind of eyes and go, huh? Some of them are also drooling as they say that, okay?
Okay,
and
so
then,
I want you just to look at these results. They're really, really horrible.
it doesn't matter. Ask some questions. Ask us as if we're the teachers in this school. What would you ask them?
So first of all, I would say, number one, I would say, what do you see here that makes you feel good about your students? What's good? What good can you pull out of this? Number one. Okay. So the number one is that a lot of the kids seem to do pretty well on matching words to pictures.
Okay.
They also
Okay,
seem
that's
to do pretty well on writing.
We'll get there in a second. Number two, they did pretty well with matching words. In other words, with the screening. What we see that's really, I'll say, and what looks to be the most challenging? The most challenging. And if we look at the most challenging, it says kriyat charuzim, right? That's most difficult. What is that telling us? Why
That
why
they
is that
can't
so?
read.
It's telling us, number one, they can't read words in isolation, okay? And they're lacking what we call those basic orthographic patterns and the basic patterns of the most basic words. When they see words in context, they seem to do much better. Why does this fly out and scream at us to such an extent? Because the top number of points you can get is 16, and the highest score here was 10 out of 16. And we see that girl seems to be, she's number 4 on the list, number 9, you see her. She seems to be doing better than anybody else. She's getting more points. Let's look and see why she's doing better than everybody else. In addition, what else will I ask? Or I want to say, well, let's look and see what else seems to be like, what were you surprised with? And they'll say, well, we see that, for example, the listening isn't good. We see that the scores on listening are low. What does that tell us when we see that scores on listening are low?
They have no vocabulary.
Not necessarily.
The teacher speaks in Hebrew.
We don't know. You're also jumping to all sorts of conclusions. Well, I think we don't know about the teacher. We don't know where they came from, right? These are 7th graders. We don't know.
So why are they bad at listening?
They're not used to these kinds of activities, for sure. This is something we don't want to blame the teacher. We don't want to blame anyone. We just want to say this is something that they're just not used to doing. Now
How
that's
can
something
you know that though?
we have to focus. We have to focus a lot of our teaching on having the kids listen to us. We don't know if the teacher before talked in Hebrew and English. We don't know if they gave instructions. We don't know anything, but we do know that they don't know how to do these kinds of activities. We see that from the scores.
Okay.
0, 1, 3, 0, 5 out of 10. But we can also see that they know a little bit. And it means that we have to spend a lot of our beginning time on, not on oral production, but on using a lot of English in the classroom in an active way.
Melissa, can you write down, please, in what you're typing, that I want to translate the activities to the speaker, to the curriculum things. If it's reception, oral reception, or written reception, or production, when we do this, no, not Judy wants to translate. We have to translate, okay? So that when we're talking to the teachers, we use the new curriculum jargon so that it helps.
Right. We have to actually do both. We have to use both. That's the way it's right.
Right, but if we don't, but if we can write it on in some place as a dictionary. All right. Also, Melissa, afterwards I'll add in the questions.
Okay, but when we talk about kishure kriya, right? Kishure kriya, if you look at it here, the reason we did this in Hebrew was not for the teacher as much as for the principals, for them to see where the pockets of challenge are, all right? So one of the other things that we see here that screams out is that when the kids have to complete sentences with words that they have to choose from, they all crashed. They all crashed. It doesn't mean that they didn't learn grammar in their school. It means they never had to apply, they don't know how to apply it to something they haven't seen before. And it comes back to being able to read and get meaning. And we see that the writing seems to be not as bad because they can actually express themselves and get a message across, and their handwriting is okay. Remember, there's a lot of points given here for clear writing and for spelling. But what we do see is that they're, in general, we have to work a lot. And what do they call that? Productive. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Because my phone booped out for a minute. What we do have to work on a lot is this ability to written reception. There's a severe issue in this class with their written reception and with their spoken reception. They don't know how to take what they've learned because they've clearly learned all sorts of things. They don't know how to take what they've learned and apply it to things that they've never seen before. And we know that seems to be something that's very, very typical of a lot of the jump between elementary school and junior high. And when schools complain or teachers complain in elementary school that the Meitzav is very difficult, when we go back and see what's going on, we see that in many cases, the teachers are teaching the kids the answers to questions, but they don't ever give them the opportunity to apply their knowledge on things that they haven't seen before. And that's what this is telling us.
Okay, is it also telling us the green? I want to look at the green for a minute. Okay. Melissa, can you go up to where the titles are? Okay, does that mean that one of the questions I think we need to ask these staffs is, and I wrote it in our agenda also, what do I see? What are the trends that I see that I need to work on with the whole class? And which are the small groups that need partani in something specific, okay? Now, I see that
I'm going to interrupt you, Judy. I'm going to interrupt you here, and I'm also because I have to go pretty soon. But one of the things I'm going to say is, I don't know what they need partani in.
No, not partani one-on-one. But
no,
for
even
example,
in small group.
This isn't going to help me do that.
No, not in a class like this. I'll show you another one that it might help me more. Okay, I'll show you one. It's the one that I showed. It's what I sent you. What I sent you for the other course, for that lecture that we had for Kita Zain. Let's see if I can find it now.
Oh, the one that you showed in the PowerPoint.
Not in the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Yeah,
in the presentation.
Melissa. Oh, Melissa's on the phone. Adele.
What?
Can you go into, please, Aaron's PowerPoint that we used in her 7th grade diagnostic Zoominar. And inside there's a slide. Melissa, are you doing it or is Adele doing it? You're on mute, sweetie pie.
I'd be happy if Adele took over now for a while. I'm sorry, I went to the eye doctor this morning and he put
Yeah, I know.
drops in
I
my
see you.
eyes and I think it triggered a migraine. Like I feel
Oh my
horrible
gosh.
right
Oh,
now.
Melissa, you poor thing. Oh, Melissa, go,
I
go, go.
know.
Bye,
I
sweetheart.
watched you phase out, Melissa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go, 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 sweetheart. Go, go, go.
So no, I'm
Go,
here.
go,
I'm
go.
here. I'm just you know.
No, 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 no.
Sitting
Go.
in the
First of all,
rocking
go.
chair.
No, no,
I
no.
know what
Call the
happens
center
when you
right
sit
now.
in the rocking chair.
Call the center.
All right, Adele, it's the Alwana presentation. Do you want
So
me to look for it?
I think I
I'm
can.
in there
I'll
looking
find it.
for
I'll find it. One second. I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll find it. So I think that one of the things that we want to look at, I'm not so sure that the test results are going to tell us those kinds of pockets. Maybe to a certain extent. I think we're reading into it a little bit too much, and I think we have to do a little bit more work to really get that information.
Okay, guys, that's really important because I think that one of the things that these people, that these coordinators or teachers are using the 7th grade diagnostic for is to find out to troubleshoot. In other words, to see what they can do and then to help them with what they can't do. Okay, and if Awana is showing us that in a very, very weak class across the board, that isn't going to help, we also have to know how to relate to that. And we're also going to have to know how to relate to a class that's much more heterogeneous, which in our AZOE schools is more of like what we're getting. Okay, we're getting a much more heterogeneous class where we're going to have a lot of green and then patches of red and yellow around. That's more of what we're going to see when it comes to, hang on. Melissa, can you mute yourself, please?
Who's host
She
here?
made you host, Adele, before she walked away. Can you? Thank
Muted
you.
her.
Okay.
I'm in you want me to be in the revolving door and to get, oh, I got Arona.
Yeah, and
Here we go
inside,
again?
pardon me? Yes.
Here
And
we go
inside that, yes, and inside that is a slide near the end that says results. But meanwhile, if you share your screen already, then I'll tell you where to go. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Hang on, let me just make that bigger. All right, go down to slide 10.
That?
Or go to 8. Yeah,
Parents
that's it.
diagnostic test?
That is perfect.
That's it. That's exactly
it. Thank you, Adele. Okay, now this I think is more of what we're going to see in the AZOE schools.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
This has much more green. It has patches of yellow here and there. This is much more of a bell curve. Okay, so Arona, can you give us some questions now for this kind of pilug?
For some reason, I can't see. Oh, now I got it. Okay, great. Okay, so first of all, let's look at it. Let's look at it very, very quickly and briefly. First of all, we want to look at the spoken reception, which is Avanat Nishma, and we see that we have it's very, very clear to us who are the kids that are that manage well and who are the kids that don't manage well. You notice there's no yellow here.
Right.
Right, there's no yellow here. The minute, and on purpose, that's the way I designed it, or we designed it, there's no yellow. Either they can do it or it becomes challenging. We actually want the kids to all do very well on this test.
How do you decide what's going to be yellow?
It's in the teacher's guide, the number of points they got.
It happens automatically. It's a cutoff. It happens automatically on the chart.
Because here either they get all 5 points and they get green, or they get 4 and they're straight into red.
That's what I started to say, Adele. That we want both of these tests, these sub skills, that we want the kids to get full score. And if they get below full score, in the first one, if they get below 5, something's wrong. And in the second one, if they get below 9, something's wrong. It's not okay here to get 8 out of 10. It's not.
All right, guys, that's something you have to write down and know and explain to your teachers.
We see
Okay.
with the able kid a lot, the teachers, it's okay. They only got like 6 out of 7. It's okay. They got 5 out of 7. No, on the able kid, we want the kids to get 100 on everything.
Adele, can you put us back on the thing?
Hang on. I wanted to take notes and.
Yeah, I know, I see, and I want you to take notes. Do you want me to share, Maximum?
Wait, no, just let me get back to it. 1 second.
But also if you want, I mean, I can't do it right this week because it's a really crazy week, but if you want, I can write you like, you know, really important points to pay attention to. Okay.
I know, I want you to give me the questions.
Okay, so that's
I want questions.
I need to see it. Okay.
I'm
In a
coming.
second. Adele's gonna show it to you, just a second. And then what I want is like we had in the lower level one where we had questions, what surprised you, whatever. Are those the same questions we're asking a bell curve class?
So in a bell curve class, we're not gonna say what surprised you because we don't know the kids yet. We're just learning them, okay?
Right.
But if we look at a bell curve class, we say, what are the things that I really need to work on with this class? What has to get better for everyone? For everyone, okay? And if we look at this, again, we see that what has to get better for everyone, and we have to work with everyone on it, is indeed the listening. On the low level listening, they seem to be okay. On the higher level listening, where there's more that they have to process and more that they have to pay attention to, they're not doing so well. And that means
and also the higher level reading.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Now, if I look at the reading, so I see that they do great on like matching word to picture. Most of the kids, the ones that don't, there's probably an issue. But also, I see that
rhyming.
There's an issue here with the rhyming words. And so how will I work on that? I'll work on that by actually, in my opinion, something that we don't do, by actually teaching spelling. I'll teach patterns. I'll teach IGHT. I'll teach OUGH. I'll teach IGH. I'll teach TION. I'll teach the difference between TION and SION. I'll teach silent letters. I'll teach silent vowels. I'll teach double vowels. I'll teach all sorts of things that come up in words because these kids don't have it. It might not have a negative effect on their general comprehension, but it definitely affects their ability to read words. It affects their ability to read new words. So the
and
more
also
words
their automation of their reading.
The automaticity of their reading.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah, right. I'm not sure because they might be able to read the word if it's in a sentence automatically, but when it's in isolation, they don't know what to do with it. Or they might be able to read the word one. They know that one says one, but then when they see WON or SUN, they can't automatically say that those words rhyme because maybe they read one like a different way.
Oni.
Right? No, maybe they read the WON. They might read it a different way.
One.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's something that I would work on a lot. Then the next thing I would say is the grammar is good. The grammar is good, except we see this kid, and this is really interesting. We see this kid who's very, very, very funnily inconsistent. I'll tell you which one that is. Wait a second. You see the kid that got 10 right on the rhyming words?
Yes.
And 5?
What column is that?
18, row 18.
What column?
Row 18.
No, the whole 18, all of the row is one kid.
The column is, it says Kriya B'Karuzim. Okay, and row 18. This kid, we have to pull out and look at individually. Absolutely. Because we see the all right? If we look
Rona,
at
I don't understand something. You said that it's not got grammar, but where do you see the grammar? Which column is the grammar?
The grammar is Hashlamat Mishpatim.
Why is that grammar, not vocabulary?
It's grammar and vocabulary. We see it again.
In the diagnostic copy, it's got choose from words that are also tenses. It's not just vocabulary in the
it's
diagnostic.
The Hashlamat Mishpatim is grammar and language. It's language. and it's vocabulary. And Hashlamat Piska is grammar. Grammar and syntax. It's language. They're both language. You have to be able to understand.
Adele, can you share the link to Here We Go Again, the whole slideshow? Could you put it in the Zoom chat so that Gabi, for example, can open up? Gabi, all of the files are linked in this presentation.
Looked at them, yeah.
No, I'm saying for now, sweetie, if you want to open it in another window while you're looking, and then you'll understand what the Hashlamat Mishpatim are. That's the link to Aarona's presentation from when she did it, and all of the BB files from the diagnostic are in this presentation. They're all linked in there, including the Excel that Adele is looking at. Karen's diagnostic test results. Adele, go back to Karen's.
But the line 18, doesn't it mean because of the kid is like going up and down with the test, doesn't have, I don't think it has to do with the English, but with the attention span.
Maybe.
Okay.
But at the end, his attention is fine. At the end, he does really well.
But it exactly what the problem, whenever the kid has a problem with the attention span, when it goes up and down, get attached and detached.
I think until you take him one-on-one and actually check his English, you can't know why. You can only look and say he's inconsistent. Inconsistent always means that there's a gap between what we're expecting and what we get. Okay, I don't want to go back to that old thing, you're not living up to your potential, but a lot of kids with learning disabilities, that's what we used to say to them. Because sometimes they glean intelligence and sometimes they fall flat on their face. And that inconsistency is what they used to tell our generation, you're not reaching your potential. Okay, because sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't show it. All right, and then we have to look and see, I understand why you're saying it, but I don't know if that's the only reason for his inconsistency. We may be overlooking an English problem if we say it's keshev. It might be keshev, it might be English, it might be both. Okay, it might not be one or the other, but it's definitely a student that we're going to have to look into more. Okay, that kind of inconsistency in red, yellow, and green is a light bulb, and it's actually a chakalaka. Okay, it's something that goes wee, 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 and we have to pay attention to it. All right, it's not even a light bulb. All right, the other thing that I wanted Awana to tell us, and we lost her because her phone, if I know Awana, her phone died. And now she's gonna run and try and find a plug for it, and then she's gonna try and get her on her computer, but her computer isn't gonna work, and then she's gonna try, so we'll be patient for just a moment with her. However, one of the things that I want us to think about, can anyone open up your microphones for a second, and let's look at this chart just as a chart of colors. And I want everyone to think about one question you would ask me. I'm the coordinator, and I come to you and I say, okay, I did this freaky test. This is what I got. Okay?
A little bit bigger.
Adele, can you make it bigger, please? But actually, I don't want you to have it bigger, Rebecca. I want you to, I mean, you can, but I want you to look at the colors. There are colors here, okay?
Part.
It doesn't matter. Look at whatever part it is, all right?
Okay.
Ask me a question. I'm the coordinator, and this is what I just brought you to a cluster meeting, okay? Shoot. Ask me a question.
Did you do this evaluation all in one session?
Good question. Yes, I did. My kids wanted to kill me, but I did it.
And how long did it take?
I gave them about an hour and a half because they had a double lesson. So a little bit less because until we started, so like An hour, 20 minutes.
Did they have an opportunity to go out in the middle for a break or a drink or the toilet, or they just carried on straight through?
Whoever wanted to go out went out. Like they didn't have an organized break. Was I supposed to give them one?
What did you do with somebody who got stuck and was refusing to do the test?
I told them to move on to the next question.
Did you translate any words for the students?
Maybe here and there, but I didn't write anything on the board or whatever.
What did you do with the student who said, I don't want to do this, period? Chuck it in the garbage.
I had one who didn't want to do the writing. I had a couple who didn't want to do the writing. I told them to do their best. And there were some who really didn't do it.
Did they come back and do that test later on at Partani or something like that?
No, I don't see them Partani yet.
How is it that you have kids that got more?
More what?
Points than the question was worth.
Now you're asking me a question that only Aarona can answer. Go and ask me something I can make up an answer to.
Maybe he gave really good answers.
Look at the trends, guys. Don't ask me about the administration. Look at the trends. All right, so you're going to want to ask.
How much of your class time do you focus on listening?
No. Good question, but do it in the future. Okay, what are the things what can you infer from this about what you're going to have to emphasize in your lessons? That's the question. So like Adele, that was right. That was your question, but in the future, okay? Because I just started. I don't know these kids at all. These are my 7th grade kids that I just got into my school. Okay, I haven't had 700 lessons yet.
How are you planning on teaching them spelling? Do you have a plan for teaching?
Why do I have to teach them spelling?
Because Kriya B'Charuzim.
Take your question back. Beep, 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 rewind.
What?
Okay. You haven't even asked me whether or not I understand what the statistics are.
Well, what would you do as a result of looking at the fact that that so many of them had problems with the Charuzim?
Okay, let's restate the question. What do you think that the rhyming task, what kind of information can we get from the rhyming task itself? Okay, ask the coordinator that. Why is there a rhyming task there? We've never asked that before, and they don't ask it on a regular test, and it's the most important part of the test. All right, so what does it mean? What does it help me to have a rhyming task? Okay, that's one of the questions I would ask. And then if you see that they mostly don't know, what does it mean now that most of them failed? What do you need to work on in your classroom? Okay, wherever there's a lot of green, you have to work less with your class as a class. All right, all of these questions need to be broken up on class level. What do I see as a class trend? What do I see as a small group? In other words, are there smaller groups that have read? Are there 4 students who are read on everything? Are there 4 students or 5 students who are only read on writing? Okay, so can I classify the kids into little groups based on skills? And then the student level, all right? What are the students that can't sit in my class for anything? What students here have no knowledge of anything? Okay, and what are you gonna do with them? Do you understand where I'm going? I'm doing it like a funnel. The top level is what trends do I see in class as the whole class, and what do I have to work on specifically in my class as a class, and that's Adele's spelling, okay? The next level of questioning is, do you see groups of kids that you can group up for your differential teaching? Those who need more reading, those who need more vocabulary, those who need more listening, those who need more writing, okay? And on different levels. Or those who are green on everything, what are you gonna do with those? Your excellent students who got 100. Okay, so it goes class trend, and then it goes small groups. Okay, how am I gonna break up my class into small groups? And then what are the individual students that I need to give individual more checking with? If that's the ABLE kit, if that's an emotional conversation, a cell lesson, if that's let's try parts of the test again because you didn't have breakfast this morning, okay? Or other things that you know about specific students, or if you know from Kita Vav because you know from the teacher that they never learned how to read, or you figured it out just now, or I don't know. Okay, so there are 3 levels now of the work that we do with a coordinator or a teacher on any specific Excel that they have. Okay, and then maybe in a staff meeting, you can say to the coordinator, I want 2 of you to get together and work because your classes are very similar. Right? Or both of your classes really need listening and these 2 classes maybe need more writing, and then you share, but at least you're working together in your staff on specific skills. Okay? So a lot of what we need to get done is to think about the 3 levels of information that we get from this chart, and then ask the questions of the coordinators. Okay, the questions that we had before, I wrote them down and I'm going to put them in the thing again, but I can't speak and write at the same time, was what do you see that the class is doing well at? What do you think is most challenging for the class? What you think you want to work on first is another question, because it might be that the whole class sucks, okay, in everything. And then what do you think should be the first thing to work on is the next question, all right? Because right now we're in a very unknown year, and I don't know if we're going to see them after the Sukkot, or I don't know if we're going to see them after Hanukkah, or I don't know if in November they're going to put us all in lockdown. I don't know anything. So what is my first priority in terms of what I see from this chart? Where do I start? Okay, that needs to be the question right now. Okay, what are my goals for the class, which Awana said very clearly. What are the can-dos that they're going to have at the end? And this is where they are now. So now I know A and B. So what is my first step? Let's just work on the first step. Okay, don't make a plan for the whole year because this is a Corona year. What is my first step? What is my first step towards the goal? Okay, and if I look at this chart, what it seems to me, and I agree with Awan 100%, that most of the red is in the rhyming words, which means working on spelling rules. 100%. And working on reading, okay? I don't know, Adele, it's really small for me, so I'm not really seeing Hashlamat Piska. Okay, I don't remember what that is. But you need to look at where most of the kids are doing red, and that's probably the place that you need to put your emphasis, at least for the first couple of steps. And then, so what's your emphasis on a class level? What's your goal on a class level? What's your goal on a small group level for, say, 3 smaller groups? And then there are students who are going to totally get red, who, what are you doing with them now? Okay, and I think that this is the same in the 9th grade that she showed us as it is in the 7th grade, except the 9th grade we haven't given out to anybody yet, and I still want to talk to Awana about how we do that without Siona screaming. But this one we've already given out, and we've already given out we did the talk, okay? Have you done your 7th grade diagnostic yet? Is something that you can ask your coordinators in your WhatsApp groups. Have you set a date for it already, especially in your Ezori schools, your 6-year schools? Ask them, have you done it already? When, or would you have it? Obviously they haven't done it, it's September 1st. But do you already have a date for it? Have you spoken to the Rakaz Pedagogy? Do you know when you're doing it? Best to do this as early as possible so that you know your kids, Okay, this is just as important as knowing if they like animals or guitars. Okay, this is what they like in English. And I would take the questions from the 9th grade and I would add them on to the diagnostic if they're not there. I don't remember what questions she asks at the end of the diagnostic. But I like the question about what do you like in English, or what was something enjoyable that you did in English. I think for everyone that's important.
Judith,
Okay.
do all the coordinators know about this test? I mean, not everyone was in the prep day.
I've been talking about it in all of my coordinator meetings since...
For years. For 2 years.
Years.
Okay.
Okay, and if, you know, I can't, the meeting that we had...
Hi, everybody. Wait, I have to. Judy, I lost you. Everything crashed in my house.
Where's Wally?
I love you. What I did was, I'll tell you what I did, Alana, and then you can say what you want to say. Okay? We looked at Karen's thing, and I broke it up into 3 levels. I broke it up into what are my goals for the class? What things do I need to do on a class level? What things do I need to do on maybe 3 smaller groups of differential? And what do I need to do on a level of students, either excellent or red, totally red? Okay, and they need to look sometimes at singular students. So I gave it to them in 3 different levels in terms of where they are and what the goal is and what the first step is now in until, like, you know, after the Chagim, what is the first thing that I'm going to emphasize in my in class?
I just want to point out 2 things, okay? Number one, thank you, Judy, for doing that. Number 2, the kids that are, if you look at the chart, you can see on the right-hand side where we have the final score. Basically, they're very pink, and the pink goes all the way across. Okay, more or less.
Right.
So we can, and actually I checked about these kids. Those are all Yaldei Shiluv. Number 1. Number 2, those are the kids that have the right for us to then do the individual diagnostic of the able. Okay?
Except my people don't know how to do that yet.
Well, we have to teach them how to do that because
I know.
the diagnostic for the able is something that we use all the way through 11th grade, believe it or not.
I know, except for the fact that that's the one lecture I haven't scheduled you for yet.
So I'm happy to do that with everybody. The other thing is that Bigadol, we know that our prime goal for the end of 7th grade is to have everybody's reading skills be better and everybody's ability to work independently be better. And maybe in the other order. In other words,
I was just going to say that.
We want our students to be independent in their work so that in light of or in spite of or whatever, we want them to be able to need us less, not for the learning bigadol, but for the learning bikatan. Because if we talk to people, anybody, about what they learned in school, most of the time, it's not what they remember their teachers having taught them, but it's material or information that they actually learned themselves through study, through practice, through whatever. And in order for our junior high kids to become effectual for themselves when it comes to school stuff in English, is they have to be able to access a text, which would be like another session that we could talk about how to work differentially when we're teaching skills to access texts.
Melissa, write that down.
But I think one of the things that's most important here is if we go back to 2 to 3 sub skills. The writing, the number bigadol might look good, okay? Anybody who's in yellow or red or pink in the writing, let's go back. We're going to have, I mean, teachers don't want to do this. They don't have time, but it's almost like, it's almost worth the time. And that is to go back and to see, what did we take off the points for most of the kids? Was it because of spelling? Was it because of grammar? Or was it because of vocabulary? And what we will find is that it's primarily because of grammar. That's what teachers seem to pull out most. and maybe the vocabulary, which means that we're going to have to spend active teaching time of the vocabulary on the vocabulary, and the grammar we want to connect it to the reading.
Right.
Teachers are
100%.
very good. Teachers are very, very, very good at teaching. Many teachers are very good at teaching grammar. Grammar? The fillets. S, S, E, S, I, E, S, E, D, I, N, D, I, N, G. Let's learn the third form of the verb. What seems to get lost in the process, and that affects our reading comprehension, is knowing, let's say,
structure.
Before the structure, that's before the structure, is recognizing the word in the text as being in the past. And if I can recognize the word in the text as being in the past, that helps me build an image of what I'm reading. They might know the word went, go went, go went. Maybe they know that after enough drilling. But when they see it, they went to the store, and we say, when did this happen? And they go, Loida.
Or they look it up. Yeah.
Loida went to the store. Are they at the store now? Loida. Okay. That's what we need the grammar for also. I mean, maybe even more. And also for the sentence structure. In other words, we teach it separate, but in the sentence, we get a lot of information if we can identify who the text is about and what the kid is doing.
That's why the squares with the arrows where they choose one from each one helps them so much, because they get the structure, they know the category of each word, they know that each one has to be there. That scaffolding is the best way to do it for learners who need to understand what a sentence is built out of. In other words, and then they recognize it when they're reading.
There you go.
Okay, that the adjective always comes before, or that the verb always comes after, or
or actually the adjective is maybe not important.
Exactly.
In other words,
yeah, 100%. But that kind of teaching and scaffolding helps the very, very struggling readers and writers make sense out of a paragraph.
Right. And I just want to say, I mean, we're sort of getting into details here. Maybe that's not the appropriate time.
Yeah,
but one of the things that's very important is mishu o mashu, ma הוא עושה, ומילה שמתארת. And if they can identify that in a sentence or in the paragraph, who's it about, what's happening, and is there anything important? Are there any important accessories here? Those are the adjectives and the adverbs. Those are the accessories. That's what I need to know in order to have my general picture. And many times we have kids who can answer and write their questions, like what color was Washington's white horse? And then it'll say his steed was the color white. Okay, so they'll be able to make the connection. But if they have to get a general meaning, they won't be able to do that. Those questions, write their questions will help them answer their issues, but they might not be able to understand the general tone or what the general thing is going on. So they can't give a different title. So they can't.
I was just going to say the title question is the one that gets them. They can do the questions of taking out the details because they find a word and they sort of get it. But then when they have to take 2 steps back out of the text, they have no main idea whatsoever.
That's correct. But this is for another conversation.
Yeah, it is definitely.
For another conversation. But Judy, I'll send you a very, very nice article that you can send to all your teachers if you want.
I will.
That basically talks about a study that was done in Harlem, and they couldn't understand why their kids were consistently getting lower scores, like the lowest scores in the state or something. And they thought it was because they were at risk. And they figured, okay, if they're at risk, they don't have vocabulary, let's teach vocabulary. So they taught them vocabulary and the scores stayed low. And they said, okay, we have to teach them thinking. They're not thinking. So they taught them how to think and the scores stayed low. Anyway, but often at Koni, the scores stayed low until they said to the kids, wait a second, why are you choosing these answers? Why are you answering this way? Or why aren't you answering? And this has to do with kids at risk. The kids said, we figure that if the answer doesn't jump out at us from the text, we just haven't found it. We're sure it's there. It must be there. But we know that we're too stupid to see it.
Yeah.
It's not, in other words, what they were having a really hard time doing was understanding that some things weren't there and they had to figure them out.
Right.
So they divided up different kinds of questions, and you'll see in the article different kinds of questions.
Cool. I want to read it.
And I think that's, something that teachers can really work on when we want to work on real reading comprehension.
Yeah, we're going to have another session about this, sweetie. I want you to drive carefully now.
Anyway, I want to thank everybody, and I'm sorry if it was a little
babe. We love you.
I have to give a very big presentation this afternoon, and last night I was thrown a PowerPoint that I must use, and I have to translate it from Hebrew to English. And I think that's
She told, Siona told me that you're giving like 3 presentations today.
2. Tomorrow 3.
Oh, tomorrow.
My God.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Arona. This was really helpful.
I want to just say one more thing, okay? It's only a test. It's only an evaluation tool. Every evaluation tool can be, every quiz, everything that we get from kids can give us a lot of information. As teachers, we don't have time to get all the information that the kids are giving us. This is a very, very rough, it's a very, very rough way of getting a lot of information in a relatively short period of time. And if we can teach our teachers how to utilize this test, this tool, maybe it will help us help them utilize the other things that they use during the year and prioritize what they really are trying to get out of every question they ask on a test and every assignment they give on a quiz. And then maybe, just maybe, the teaching will be more focused.
I'm crossing my fingers, love.
Okay, everybody, feel good. And Melissa,
love
feel
you,
better.
sweetie. Have a happy September 1st. I want to thanks, honey.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Alana.
Bye, honey. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I want to see, Melissa, I need to know what your physical status is. I'm going to give us a break now. If at all possible, I'd like to give us until 2:30. Can I have a half an hour at 2:30 to do virtual counseling, which we didn't do? And I think it's really important that we give it a little bit of time. Is there anyone who can't be here for that?
I think Nati's gone.
That's okay.
And
Okay, so I'm not sure when we're going to do this, Melissa, but it was really important that we talk about what we mean by virtual counseling, because even counseling on this is something that we haven't talked about.
Right.
And we didn't get to it in the morning because it was much more important for me to find out where everyone was in the morning. And theoretically, in 12 minutes, the meeting is over. So the question is, are we taking a break and coming back? Are we going to talk about it another day, next week? What do you want to do?
I feel like it's been a really, really long day until now.
So let's stop.
So I think it's time. I think we won't absorb it even if we do come back.
Okay.
So I think it might be worth saying goodbye now. Now, if Yumi and Sohad and whoever else wants to join us to talk about the Yomanim.
No, I think just Yumi and Sohad.
Yumi and Sohad. That would be at 2:30. And I think...
if anybody wants me to help them and show how I organize my mailing list and take the information
We
out
could
of
send
the
you into a
department.
breakout room if you want, but Adele, I'd like you to share with me the Google Doc that you just wrote about Alana's talk, because I want to put it together with what Melissa and I wrote, because then when I started speaking, I stopped writing. So could you share it with me, and then we'll share it with everyone?
Sure, it's kind of like I wrote it
Yeah,
for
I know.
myself. So
Whatever.
It's kind of,
everyone wrote. It's a good summary, and I didn't continue writing, and neither did Melissa.
yeah. We should open up a thing that we do together, and we can like, take notes with it.
And we're gonna have many more Awana meetings.
It's pure gold.
She's gonna be guiding us through this year on a lot of different topics. Mostly the course Ki'ilu for the counselor meetings are gonna be these with Awana.
Excellent.
So yeah, she offered. She offered, I grabbed. As quickly as possible.
I think it's because she's struggling in some of the courses that we're in. The teachers are really lacking fundamentals, and they're asking questions that they sort of give them hairs on their back. And I think this is why she wants to make the counselors much more proficient in the area.
She's not doing this with all the counselors. She's doing it with us.
No, with us. I think some of them also, some of our schools are asking questions.
She's doing it because she loves Reed and she's part of Reed, and she wants, before she retires, she wants to make sure that she's leaving Reed in a good place. So
Is she retiring next year?
I don't know, a year or two. No, but she's not 67 yet, but she's had enough. So, I keep offering her days. So she let her take them. So we'll see. So in any case, so
do we want Gabby, Rebecca, anybody else who wants to? Oh, nobody else is left.
does anybody, who else wants to do mailing lists and stuff with?
But I think she's on the road.
With Adele.
No, Rebecca said that she thinks Natty wanted to, but she's on the road.
I think Adele once helped me with mailing lists. I think mine are I'm not sure, but I have many. But I have the other kind of fires to use my webbed feet on.
What is that supposed to mean?
Who else is firing with you?
No.
Your new principal? Is he making you crazy?
No, well, you know,